The king towered in the grand hall beside his son. From the stairs, two noble women stared on as third Princess Sistina Lallard stood in the middle, rocking an elegant white dress packed with bows and ribbons, while the bearded monarch roared out his decree. He was naming her Lord of the Fifth Northern Territory. A dark-haired young man in spotless formal wear stood shoulder to shoulder with the princess, and Sistina snapped her eyes shut as the announcement hit. Court members huddled in hushed whispers about the Fifth Northern Territory, how it was so far off and so empty there was literally nothing at all. One courtier panicked, convinced Lady Sistina would learn the truth and spiral straight into despair. But Sistina lit up with pure excitement, shouting that her father's proposal was wonderful. She swore she'd make the Fifth Territory shine brighter than anywhere else, determination blazing all over her face. The dark-haired young man grinned as her reaction hit him like fireworks, while three shocked courtiers hung back behind him, totally stunned years earlier. 5-year-old Sistina Lara beamed at her father in a grand, columned hallway, clutching a book in both hands like it was a treasure. She clutched the letter, desperate to read it side by side with him. The king waved her away on the spot, telling her I'm slammed, and insisting she'd have to read that stuff on her own. He leaned in and told her, if you've got the time to read, then spend it acting like the princess you're meant to be. The young girl swallowed her pride, apologized in a hush, and accepted his words. Then later, 9-year-old Princess Khalifa, Ariel, the 14-year-old princess, pointed out that her father had shut Sistina down again like he was still ducking her. Then someone chimed in that Sistina wasn't even the official wife's child. Young Sistina sat alone outside, nose in her book, until someone plowed right into her. A young boy stepped up and demanded to know why she was crying, and in her racing thoughts she admitted it felt just like her father. Like everyone else looked at her like she was nothing but in the way. She couldn't stop wondering if she really belonged here, and the question hit her hard. What was she supposed to do instead? The boy swore he'd stick by that hardworking sissy. He fired her up and told her to chase what she truly wanted, because if she kept pushing with her best, the world would finally notice her someday. He grinned at her and told her to stop crying. Back in the present day, Princess Sistina breathed out a slow, quiet breath in her lavish, ornate bedroom. A voice boomed from outside and boom, everyone knew it was Kaido. The princess waved him in. Kaido Avon, her loyal servant, stepped forward and greeted her with a bright, cheerful good morning. She beamed back at his greeting and hurriedly apologized that she wasn't done changing yet, and Kaido instantly clocked it as weird, because she always had that sorted. The princess admitted she'd been trapped in a long, nostalgic dream. Then Kaido pressed her for details. She leaned in close and whispered, "It's a secret, and you're the only one I'm telling." Kaido tore through her day like a storm, sword training right after breakfast, then roughly 2 hours of geology drills after lunch. After that, she burned through the petitions sent to the kingdom and pushed on. Princess Sistina leaned in and begged Kaido to steal a lunch break. She wanted to try a brand new spell. Kaido shot back that they'd tested one yesterday too. The princess snapped, "This is like yesterday," because she had 17 other things she still wanted to test, while Kaido, utterly drained, begged her to please save it for next time. Princess Sistina threw herself into studying all kinds of disciplines, craving mastery in every field. Swordsmanship and magic, she lived for every lesson, soaking it all in with pure hunger. Turns out she wasn't the queen's child at all, she was the third princess. That's why her father refused to even claim her. Since her life as a princess never taught her a thing, she had no choice. She taught herself everything, step by fierce step. At first, it was all about getting everyone's eyes on her. She didn't want much. She just wanted her father to finally see her and acknowledge her. Before she even realized it, learning turned into something she couldn't get enough of. This world was packed with mysteries. Every time she cracked open one secret, she burned to chase the next. The princess spent every day staring past the castle walls, her curiosity swelling with each new sunrise, and Kaido kept pace beside her as they chased answers in the wild world beyond. Back in the present, Kaido went through the pile of noble consultation requests one by one, deciding who'd get his attention. Most of it was just chores, stuff that should have been handled at night or in court, yet somehow it all ended up dumped on their desk. Princess Sistina shrugged it off, saying it was fine, and somehow finishing it felt way better than just complaining. Smash that like button and hit subscribe. For more secret manga gems, now I dare you to drop a comment. Comment, "I'm absolutely loving this." I bet most of you. Most of you won't, and that's exactly why. Now let's keep going. Outside, someone spotted the busted water mechanism on the side, and couldn't help wondering when those repair workers would finally show up. Princess Sistina launched off the steps in a dramatic leap, slamming down right beside the waterway. Kaido blurted out an apology for startling everyone and told her to land softer next time. Then the man below went stone still, realizing on sight that it was the princess, right there in front of him, and he couldn't wrap his head around the fact that she really came in person. A few days back, he checked the waterway and found it had completely stopped running. He grilled the knights for answers, but they shut him down, claiming it couldn't be fully repaired. Princess Sistina stepped forward and swore she'd fix it all by herself. He stared at her, completely thrown off by the sheer fire in her enthusiasm. She strode up to the ornate water pump, its decorative emblems gleaming, and threw herself into the task, scrambling the magic formula and forcing it to work again. She recalibrated the circuitry, and magical energy surged through the technical diagrams as she cranked the system to peak efficiency, leaving the man stunned by how fast she finished. The princess then said she'd rewritten the magic formula, so the water would race faster and run clearer than ever. He thanked her again, and she waved him off, telling him he didn't need to fret. This was her pleasure all along, and Kaido couldn't help but watch her light up as she helped. Later in the library, Princess Sistina leaned in and grilled Kaido, asking if he was truly satisfied with life inside the royal castle. He claimed he was personally satisfied, and she confessed she still felt a little uneasy. This place had everything you could want, yet it still felt like the walls were squeezing the life out of me. She slumped by the window, staring as a bird flitted outside, and she'd catch herself thinking, what if she isn't just some regular girl? What if she's a princess, and freedom is finally within reach? Kaido snapped that she always found time for everything and piled on more tasks than anyone could handle, and the princess laughed it off, saying her "things I still want to do" list grows bigger every single day. Just the other day, she jumped into the knight's monster hunting mission to put her brand new magic tool to the ultimate test. Before all that, she raced into a drought-scorched region to set up a magic device that could summon rain, taught everyone how to plant and grow crops, then admitted the truth: she'd only passed along what she learned from her own experiments. She lit up because her research finally turned out to matter. Then she unleashed golems across the whole capital to snag a thief. And when it all hit, Sistina just stared in confusion, unable to recall anything, except that Kaido had been right there with her. Kaido couldn't believe the princess was still helping him, so he just stared in shock, while Sistina nervously asked if she'd been any trouble at all. Then he said if she can be greedy, she'll be thrilled if he treats her the way he used to. And just like that, the whole conversation turned heavy and tense. Kaido shot back, all formal and steady, "Of course I'm yours, after all, I'm your butler." That tiny moment screamed the truth they both couldn't ignore. Sistina finally broke the silence. "What if I stopped being a princess?" Then she pushed even harder, staring at Kaido as she asked, "If I told you I wanted to go somewhere far away, would you come with me?" Kaido mulled the question over, then said his role was clear. He was a butler serving the royal family, but wouldn't that all hinge on whose order comes first? Sistina flashed a smile, totally admitting that was a brutal question to throw at someone as earnest as him. And then she nodded, saying he was right. Later, Kaido stared as the princess got shoved into yet another grimoire, same old nightmare, like it never skipped a beat. That night, nobles spilled into an ornate bedroom around nobles to hash out her fate. They kept dumping more tasks on the princess to shove her out of the spotlight, but she kept snapping up the messes they left behind on purpose, until one noble finally snapped, "Do something about her." And another had to admit with zero enthusiasm that she was a real genius, and the whole talk instantly turned deadly serious. This could blow up the royal succession, because now even more people in the capital were rallying behind her. The queen couldn't help but stare at how much her daughter had grown, while every hard task they threw at Lady Sistina got crushed so effortlessly it skyrocketed her popularity. And that was the exact nightmare they'd tried to avoid. The argument soured fast, and suddenly people were whispering about carrying out the plan or locking her away somewhere, until another voice shot it down, claiming even royal blood couldn't pull it off, yet one fear still hung over them. A girl with such low blood might end up as the next monarch. The nobles nodded and swore everything was fine. Then His Majesty made it clear he wanted Lady Sistina kept at arm's length, and one noble promised, "Don't worry, I'll tell His Majesty myself." Soon the king sank onto his throne and dropped his decree. Those untouched northern fifth lands were too massive to leave sitting there and doing nothing. He named Sistina Lauret the new lord of the fifth northern territory. Princess Sistina stood before the throne and took the declaration like it was a challenge. She shut her eyes for a heartbeat, then opened them with pure determination. Leave it to her. The nobles went white with shock, shouting that this was exile from the royal capital. And then they stared at her like she'd completely lost her mind. They mocked her for trying to look tough, like what could she even do in a place like that? She'd just end up sobbing again, useless as ever. Sistina snapped back, dead certain, "I said it, case closed," because that was the truth. Kaido watched their exchange unfold and realized, in their eyes, she'd made the wrong move. Princess Sistina threw down a dramatic declaration, saying she couldn't because it was taboo, and then promised she'd show them the fifth territory herself, right in their faces. She vowed to forge a grand city that would rival the royal capital itself, and the nobles went wide-eyed. then broke into laughter. Kaido watched her with a grin. There, shining like destiny, was their princess. Later on, Princess Sistina slipped into her formal traveling outfit, heart racing as she couldn't wait to see what her brand new land would be like. Somewhere deep in the palace, a lone soul stared at the silence and wished they could at least say one final goodbye. Then Princess Sistina spotted a pile of luggage parked right by the carriage. Kaido stood there in his butler getup, staring her down as he told her he'd been waiting for this moment. When she questioned the luggage, he hesitated, then admitted the truth. He spelled it out like it was the clearest thing in the world. He was going with her. The princess figured her father would have ordered him to ditch her and serve someone else. Kaido didn't just hint at it, he confirmed it with absolute certainty. Kaido made it crystal clear to the king, bowed with respect, then declared he wasn't just any servant. He was Lady Sistina's personal butler, and if the princess set sail for a new land, he'd go right alongside her. The king said from this day forward, Kaido's going to be someone else's weapon, got it? And Kaido answered with absolute certainty, I'm ready. The king signed off and Kaido practically lit up. He could do whatever he wanted. Then he leaned into Princess Sistina and told her the truth. He'd gotten permission to ride alongside her. She couldn't wrap her head around it. This serious guy actually dared to ask her father for something like that. She asked if it was okay, and when he heard no, he knew he'd never be able to come back the same way again. Kaido stepped in front of the princess and ripped the declaration right out loud. And ever since that moment, he slipped into the role of her butler, just like it was always meant to be. Princess Sistina's face lit up like a firework, pure joy flooding her features, because she already knew he'd say exactly that. The carriage kicked off its run toward the northern 5th territory, tearing through the countryside on full speed. After what felt like forever, they finally stormed into the northern 5th territory, and the land ahead sprawled out, dead quiet and utterly barren. Kaido strode out and realized this place was empty, way worse than he'd ever been told. Kaido shrugged and said, yeah, that's fine. Princess Sistina burst into the barren wasteland, threw her arms wide and declared, ahead of us, nothing but possibility. Princess Sistina decided that if this place had nothing to offer, she'd just build it herself, and the empty territory actually became her playground. In the royal capital, she couldn't risk dangerous experiments with everyone staring, but out here she could try anything she wanted without interference. Kaido watched her like he already knew exactly what she'd do next. She leaned in and demanded to know if he regretted tagging along. He grinned and shut her down, then promised her he'd keep backing her every step, like her faithful butler. And he nodded right there. They were starting from this very moment, and later, they sealed it with a vow side by side. Their frontier reform for both of them kicked off right now, because the northern 5th territory was in deep trouble, and nothing had ever managed to move forward. Monsters prowled the forest with zero fear, while the settlement crumbled in silence, abandoned, battered, and left to rot. This place, the territory, had a brutal reputation. Lords got assigned here, lasted maybe 6 months, then dragged themselves back to the kingdom, and the main manor was a complete disaster. Kaido prowled through the building, then confirmed it had been abandoned and left to rot the moment the last lord threw in the towel. He spun toward Princess Sistina and blurted, so what happens next? The moment he called her Lady Sistina, the princess lit up with pure excitement. He was straight up using **Sisti** right now. She demanded they pick a first move, and right when Kaido opened his mouth, she steamrolled his idea. She seized the job and started cleaning. The corridor stretched ahead of them, choking with dust and drowning in neglect. Princess Sistina decided to do it her way. She called up the spirit of water, and a glowing magic circle erupted beneath her feet. Magical water surged through the entire building, flooding every corner, scrubbing everything in its path like a storm. Then it moves on. After that, Kaido threw himself into the last remaining areas, and the moment he looked around, he realized the building was in way worse shape than he'd ever expected. Princess Sistina jumped in to help, and when he muttered that he was supposed to do it alone, she shot back, "You really think I'd just sit there and watch?" While they were cleaning, Kaido's gut screamed that someone was watching them, and Princess Sistina clocked it too, so she told them to go check for themselves. They set off to investigate, striding through the halls side by side. Something slammed out of the shadows out of nowhere. Kaido shot into action and threw himself in front of Princess Sistina to protect her. He snatched her out of the way as the creature lunged at them, then warned her that more of them were closing in. She had to keep her distance, no exceptions, because she swore she'd heal his wounds the second new threats started closing in. They battled their way through the manor while the whole place got hammered, and Kaido snapped. He had to get outside. He couldn't unleash magic strong enough without shattering the building, but he needed that open space to fight the way he was meant to. Amid the chaos, Princess Sistina stumbled as dark creatures surged in from every direction. They burst outside, then a pack of wolf-like monsters closed in, surrounding them from every side. Princess Sistina finally clocked the truth. They'd been bunking in that abandoned mansion all along, and Kaido ripped the mask off, calling them low-level monsters. Wolf monsters were pure terror, snatching at both people and animals. And even the lowliest wolves turned into a town-killing nightmare the moment they formed a pack. Princess Sistina realized, straight from the wolves' point of view, that she and Kaido were the intruders. Kaido promised he'd take care of it, then she grabbed him and stopped him cold. Princess Sistina sparked a plan. She grabbed Kaido's attention and told him to keep his sword sheathed unless it was absolutely do or die. That was the one time the wolves didn't get to kill them. He nodded, said he got it, and then waited on her every command. She ordered Kaido to corral the wolves into one spot, as fast as humanly possible. He snapped into action, driving them into formation with razor-sharp pinpoint control. And once he finally herded them all together, she praised him exactly like she'd predicted, and somehow it felt even more perfect. A blazing magic circle snapped into existence under the huddled wolves. The wolves froze in place, like something stole the life right out of their bodies. Princess Sistina snapped back that they couldn't move a muscle, right when Kaido asked if they should take them all down at once. She decided they'd keep the wolves right here. She said they still needed help cleaning, no excuses. Kaido snapped that getting along with monsters was utterly impossible. They hurt innocent people and animals. And when Princess Sistina called out that monsters were living beings too, he snapped back like there was zero chance those creatures and humans could ever coexist. She teased him to his face, laughing that just moments ago he'd sworn he couldn't do it. The talk jumped straight to where monsters come from, and Princess Sistina leaned in, asking him if he actually knew. Kaido finally admitted it. Those researchers were still hunting for the answer. Then the question hit hard. Why did the wolf-type monsters look so exactly like real wolves? He said he'd already cooked up a theory. Monsters started out as just animals back then. He explained that wolves run on strict ranks, where the toughest wolf claims the top spot, and sometimes they even end up bowing to another monster and calling it their boss. Princess Sistina snapped, "Guess I'll just have to show you all I'm the boss." Kaido snapped at her to stay back, then clocked what she was about to do. Princess Sistina sprinted straight up to the lead wolf and told it she understood The princess drops a heartfelt apology, then insists they have to take this mansion. The moment Princess Sistina steps in and speaks, the wolves snap to attention around her, then their growls fade as they lower their heads and fall under her command. Princess Sistina leans in and reaches for the lead wolf, begging for its trust. The wolves snap to attention as soon as she steps in, bowing to her presence and authority. In the blink of an eye, the wolves turn calm, like something snapped into place. And Kaido keeps talking, saying these monsters may have started out as just animals. The only real difference between animals and monsters is how their magic power surges through them. Animals keep their magic locked in and steady, but monsters, their power jitters, breaks loose, and turns violent. Princess Sistina can't stop asking why monsters even had to be born in the first place, right as the wolves finally settle down around her. And she starts wondering if their whole transformation has a hidden reason. Princess Sistina softly strokes the lead wolf's head, and the beast stays perfectly calm under her hand, watching their bond snap into place. Every wolf pack drops into place and obeys without a fight. Kaido snaps into shock and blurts, "What did you do?" The princess admits she knew their rampage erupted because their magic was in chaos, so she reined in the spellwork and forced their power into a steady flow. She promises she'll never kick them out and pitches the idea of living together. Then Kaido snaps back, protesting like he can't believe it. Princess Sistina stands ringed by the now-tamed wolves, and you can practically hear their joy in the air. Kaido can't stop thinking about how one single princess ripped open the whole monster ecology, something everyone's kept wrapped in mystery for years. So he's stunned she even pulled off taming them, because he's never once heard of anything like that. Her monster knowledge, magical control, and wild creativity hit him like a thunderclap. Of course, she's an incredible person, just like Her Highness always is. Princess Sistina fires up the room and declares, "We're continuing the big cleanup together." Princess and the wolves kick off the cleanup, tearing through the mansion room by room. Kaido commands a pack of wolves to guard one side. A wide exterior shot sweeps across the mansion's walls from the outside. Inside the now spotless mansion, Kaido stares in disbelief. Somehow they pulled it off, and Princess Sistina steps forward to thank everyone for the amazing job they did. One wolf snaps that everything changed the moment Sisti became boss, and another blurts that the wolves warmed up to Kaido instantly too. Kaido just stares, shocked at this absolutely unreal sight. The princess glances up and realizes it's nighttime now. She wants to start dinner right away, but there's nothing in sight to cook with. Kaido just shrugs and says, "Then we'll make do with whatever we can find here." The lead wolf snaps, "I'm not eating," then insists they better save enough for everyone else. Kaido leans by the window and watches them, laughing, living, growing into one massive family. then murmurs that he only wishes there was a whole town nearby. Garden boxes spill over, overflowing with lush plants. Kaido spots something out there, leans in and barks, "Should I go check it out?" Princess Sistina snaps and abandons the hunt for food, leaving it to the wolves instead. A wolf snaps out a sharp bark, alerting everyone to something lurking outside the plants right there beyond the window. Kaido's eyes go wide, pure shock, as something crashes and bursts right in front of him. A hulking wolf looms over a filthy, disheveled kid sprawled on the ground. Kaido clocks him as a kid and Princess Sistina's like, "Aw, he's adorable," and orders the wolf to set him free. Kaido takes one look around and realizes it's packed with kids and real people living nearby. The princess yells for the scared boy, and he freaks out, screaming that they have to bolt right now or they're about to get eaten. Kaido hurls himself into the mess, trying to calm everyone down before the chaos swallows them whole. The lead wolf spits it out. "That boy's nothing but the Demon King's little minion." Kaido blasts back, swearing their humans are worth attention, and demanding everyone look closer. The boy goes rigid with shock, blinks, and points. Princess Sistina can't be getting along with monsters, so this has to be a lie. A wolf clocked that Kaido's in serious trouble and Princess Sistina snaps, "So whose fault do you think this is?" Princess Sistina steps forward and reintroduces herself. Sistina, the new ruler of this land, and the boy immediately bows, calling her "my lord." She admits these kids are monsters. Yeah, they're terrifying in a way, but they're not the scary kind. The boy blurts out, "Wait, are you only like this because you're a demon lord?" Princess Sistina shoots back that making friends with monsters is rare, then calmly tells him, "Don't worry, these ones are safe." She shoots him a warning. "Other monsters are terrifying, so don't you ever go near anything out there, stick only with these." The princess's heart melts. She finds the boy adorable and beams at him with a warm, gentle smile. Princess Sistina unleashes a jaw-dropping show of magic that leaves everyone stunned. A glowing magical circle blooms overhead as she hurls sorcery to conjure icy flowers, then declares, "I'm a sorcerer." From below, the boy stares in total jaw-dropping awe. The boy stares in awe at the chilly flower she made, then leans in and asks if she really loves it. He blurts, "Mage Lord," like he can't believe it, grinning at her. Princess Sistina spots the flower, and it's somehow bigger than she ever imagined. The boy blurts out that there's a village just up the road. Princess Sistina lines in and demands, "What's your name?" Shun flashes a grin, introduces himself, and says he lives nearby. Then Princess Sistina leans in and asks if he'll guide them through the village, since she wants to greet everyone as their lord, and Shun nods and agrees without hesitation. The princess orders 2 wolves to guard the mansion and keep a watch on everything. The whole crew strides into the woods, charging toward the village like it's the next stop on a survival mission. The village bursts into view, just a farming settlement of tiny houses, stretching crop fields, and people bent to the work, turning the earth with their own hands. Princess Sistina scans the area with sharp, unblinking focus. Shun bolted home, shouting for his mom as if his life depended on it. His mother tears into him, barking that he better tell her exactly where he's been. Shun blurts out an apology, then lights up and tells her he finally met the Lord. In the evening, Princess Sistina approaches Shun's mother with perfect manners, then asks right away if she can meet the village chief. His mom nods and agrees she'll set it up right away. Next, Princess Sistina and Kaido huddle inside, holding their breath for what comes next. Kaido blurts out that something about this place feels wrong, and the princess immediately swears she's sensing it too. She clocked it too late. Right after she'd spun that ice flower earlier, her magic control had wobbled, and when she finally stopped the wolf, she never even realized it. But something about this feels seriously off. Kaido can't stop wondering what on earth is causing this. Princess Sistina finally speaks up and admits she has no clue yet. Right on cue, the village chief finally shows up, an elderly bearded man with a few villagers trailing behind. Then he steps forward and tells everyone, "I'm the village chief." Princess Sistina steps forward and formally introduces herself as Sistina Lalat, the new lord of the territory, then quickly bows and apologizes for crashing into their night so late. Princess Sistina practically beams as she says she can't wait to team up with everyone, so she can open even more doors for the villagers to jump into domain matters. The villagers instantly recognize her as someone from the royal Laylard family. Still, the village chief steps forward and makes a straight-up request. He tells her to step back and keep them out of it. The village chief lays it out straight. He doesn't trust lords or nobles at all, so Princess Sistina can't help but ask, why? The chief leads them through the village fields and tells them right there that this land has been their home for generations. For the past few years, even when the sky opens up and it pours, their crops barely budge. The village chief keeps digging deeper into their heartbreak. Both the previous lord and the one before him already knew exactly how they suffered, yet they just turned a blind eye and let it happen. Even when the villagers begged again and again for help, the lords just shut them down, silent, cold, and completely unwilling to care. The chief snarls that Princess Sistina wouldn't get it, because raised in comfort, she can't fathom how the villagers claw and scramble just to survive. Princess Sestina nods along with the chief's verdict, admitting she's damn lucky. Like, she knows exactly what she's been given behind that confession. The surface of her memory that kept dragging up her own brutal past. Episodes where loneliness hit hard and rejection never let up. And isolation within the royal castle. Kaido watches it all with a stone-cold, serious gaze. Even knowing she comes from a privileged world, Princess Sestina boldly declares, "I don't care, I still want to get along with everyone." She tells the chief, "I get it, your anger makes total sense." She stands right in the middle of the village crowd, with Yangshun and his mother shoulder to shoulder. Princess Sestina steps up and admits it plainly. If everyone's hurting, she refuses to stand by. Now that she's the new lord, she's determined to do everything she can because they're all trapped in the same domain, suffering together. The village chief shoots back that long ago, a lord once made promises just like that. A ridiculously gifted court magician tried to fix it, and still couldn't crack the problem in the end. Princess Sestina lines in and demands to know if the land itself is hiding something strange. Just as the village chief starts to confirm it, Princess Sestina barrels in, snaps that he admitted the last magician couldn't pull it off back then. So maybe it wasn't impossible forever. She politely points out that the chief is stuck in the same spot, with nothing he can do about it. Kaido and Princess Sestina stand side by side and promise they're going to wipe every single worry off the villagers' shoulders. The village chief snaps her head up in total shock at Princess Sestina's bold declaration. Because she isn't just some princess who wasted her days in the royal castle, she can do all kinds of things. And the chief and the whole village start staring like, what could a castle-raised princess possibly pull off? Shun can't hold it in, he leaps forward, shouting that he totally saw her powers, and then someone asks, is it because she's a sorceress? And the village chief freezes in pure confusion, eyes wide with stunned surprise. Princess Sestina flashes a confident smile and makes her final vow. She swears, as both princess and lord, that she'll save their village. Once the whole mess is finally handled, she begs them to put their differences aside and get along. With Shun's mother stepping forward, the gathered villagers, chief included, line in and hang on her fierce no-turning-back pledge. The village chief admits it. Princess Sestina never, ever throws in the towel. Princess Sestina leans in and pours out her whole story, how she was raised in a royal magic family, how every region she survived sharpened her, and how she took everything she learned and proved it in real life, even working the fields and becoming stronger than the most famous magic houses. Kaido just stands there, listening as she lays it all out to the villagers gathered around her. The village chief snaps back to Princess Sestina's bombshell with his own demands. Prove it in 2 weeks or it's over. They clasp hands on the deal and Princess Sestina nods, confirming she's got every condition. The chief lays down the punishment, mess up and she'll be kicked out of this land. Princess Sestina takes the challenge head-on, grinning with total confidence, insisting it's not even a problem. She tells Kaido, we're doing this together, and Kaido just nods like, yeah, things are about to get hectic. Lord and servant stand poised for their first real job, and Shun leads Princess Sestina and Kaido through the village until they reach the biggest field there, an empty, lifeless stretch of land boxed in by wooden fences. Princess Sestina beams and thanks Shun for showing everyone around. Princess Sestina sweeps the field with her eyes and spots water seeping into the ground. Then Kaido fires off a quick rundown of what the village chief told them. Rain's been falling for years, yet the crops still won't grow right. Princess Sestina notices the trouble doesn't stay the same. Kaido explains there's no fixed cycle, just this terrifying stretch where nothing grows, and those dead periods have slowly grown longer all year long. Princess Sestina spots it too, same weird feeling she had yesterday, and tells Kaido, who admits he can't sense a thing is off. Princess Sestina bursts out that magic is surging through the whole land. Right then Kaido goes wide-eyed, baffled that magic could even exist here. And when she asks if he's ever heard of dragon veins, Kaido admits it. He's never heard of it in his life. Princess Sestina leans in and breaks it down. Dragon veins are the magic lifeline itself, the life force that gushes through the earth and keeps every living thing alive. She explains that most of the time nobody can even sense it, and it never messes with the surface or the living. But once in a while, it slips through and starts causing problems, and Kaido immediately demands if that's what's behind the crop failures. Princess Sestina finally confirms it. She explains that the gap in their magic levels lets her asterisk feel the dragon vein, while Kaido can't, and she even remembers how her magic hit way harder than she ever expected. Yesterday, when it happened again, Kaido still couldn't forget the ice flower incident. He'd nearly lost control, and at the time he didn't spot a single thing that felt wrong. Princess Sestina spills the truth. Magic power isn't just magic, it's the life force itself, and that's why the crops are failing. And those warped plant growth abnormalities, they're unleashing monsters like crazy. Kaido can't shake the question, why is this forest so packed and alive if the dragon vein is messing everything up? Princess Sistina tells him it all comes down to compatibility and how long it lasts. Magic has its own nature, its own affinities. These trees have clearly evolved over time, locking into this environment like they were built for it. Princess Sistina declares the truth: only plants tuned to this land's dragon veins will actually thrive. And Kaido clocks it instantly. The court magician's failure wasn't luck at all, he just never noticed the problem. Princess Sistina figures he probably noticed. But with dragon veins digging in his way, he can't do a thing, so he throws in the towel, because no normal trick can make crops grow in this place. Kaido can't stop himself from wondering if this mess is even fixable. Princess Sistina shrugs and says, dead serious, you can't pull this off with the usual methods. She screams the grim truth: this land is lost, and they'll be forced to pack up and flee somewhere else. Princess Sistina can't shake the weight of that decision. This land is soaked in her villagers' ancestors' blood, sweat, and generations of work. And as their lord, she can't bring herself to be the one who orders them to leave it behind. Determination flares in her eyes as she snaps, all right, we're starting now. Because if they've uncovered what's behind it, then they're ready to take it head on. Princess Sistina starts bossing everyone around and Kaido blurts out, what do I do? She points to the yard and orders him to cut down the big tree, pick the one that's grown up best. Shun practically bursts with excitement as he volunteers again. Then Princess Sistina hands him the next job. Grab the vegetable seeds and the crops the village just harvested, and Shun nods, ready to go ask the village chief. Kaido kicks off the job by smashing the chosen tree down, and then grinding the logs into usable timber. Princess Sistina slams her fist down and declares, we'll be the first ones to till this field. The whole village erupts into action. Grown-ups and kids team up, shovels flying as they break the hard soil and ready the ground for planting, turning that dead, barren field into something alive. Kaido can't stop wondering what that tree is going to be used for. Princess Sistina tells Kaido that the tree holds pieces that can latch onto a dragon's vein. Then she plans to rip those elements out with alchemy, blend them into crop seeds, and use the results as her material. A diagram even spells out how the extraction works, and Kaido remarks that this is one seriously intense way to breed. Princess Sistina strides off to work, kneeling low as they started the alchemical extraction on the materials they'd set up. Princess Sistina erupts with bone-shaking, world-bending magic. The alchemical process kicks off with a blast of pure energy. Rocks levitate into the air as swirling magic wraps around her. Glowing orbs flare to life every time she squeezes the tree's essence, and her hair whips back like the power is yanking it straight out of the ground. The transformation kicks off in a blaze of brilliant magic, lighting the whole area up like a runaway fireworks show. The whole plan actually works. Princess Sistina lifts several tiny potted plants packed with fresh seedlings and announces, loud and proud, it worked. The village chief and Kaido stare in shock as she fires off an explanation. Time's running out, so she'll keep using magic to force the growth and sneak quick checks on the plants. Then she turns to them, help me plant everything. Princess Sistina grins and promises they'll kick it off right now. Kaido and Shun light up with excitement and jump straight into planting in the field. The whole village rallies together and plunges into planting day, hands moving fast and hearts even faster. Kaido rolls up his sleeves and works shoulder to shoulder with the villagers right there under the trees. Princess Sistina watches the crew lock in together, her face sharp with thought. The villagers huddle together, whispering, we can't just sit here, let's do something too. Princess Sistina watches her people team up on her land. Every single villager rolls up their sleeves, adults and kids planting side by side while dogs roam the fields, and everyone pitches in to keep the soil strong. Princess Sistina strides through the field, soaking in what her people are doing and jumping right into the work with them. Days slam by and the field starts shouting results. The fields are bursting with fresh sprouts, and the village chief and everyone else are throwing a full-on celebration, because those tiny plants are really growing right before their eyes. Princess Sistina and Kaido lean in, watching the progress unfold. The village chief can't believe his eyes. Princess Sistina is absolutely incredible. And another villager blurts out that it only took her 10 days to reach this point, so Sistina tightens her focus and studies the field even closer. Princess Sistina's face tightens with worry as she blurts out the terrifying truth: crop growth is slower than she ever planned, and at this rate the fields won't bear fruit. The village chief snaps from calm to pure shock. Kaido scribbles frantic notes on the chaos, while Princess Sistina assures him, breath steady, I'm okay. She declares that right from this moment, it's the final touch, no more steps after this. The village chief leans in and demands to know what dragon veins even are, and Princess Sistina snaps in a device, one that lays it all out and lets her control the dragon veins' energy. Kaido jolts with surprise at the bizarre mechanism, and the chief can't help but wonder if that device can actually make things better. Then casually points out that, yeah, something like that really does exist. Princess Sistina lays it out. This land sits right on a dragon vein, and the magic running through it surges and stutters out of control. That sickly, unstable energy keeps throttling the delicate vegetables and grains, and it's still doing it even right now. She grabs their attention and tells them to watch like hawks as she slams the device to life. Princess Sistina activates the dragon vein control, and the result hits instantly, explosive and loud. Magical energy crashes through the field, and plants explode upward in seconds. Flowers bursting open with blinding light as their petals unfurl fast enough to make your head spin. Crops burst from the soil, turning the whole field into a lush garden in front of everyone's eyes, until the village chief Kaido stands there. And the villagers, spellbound, stare as the very world bends and answers her power. The transformation finishes, and boom, the whole field snaps into life, packed with healthy crops, overflowing flowers, and fresh fruit forming right on the plants. Those alchemically boosted seeds plus the dragon vein energy he controlled forged the absolute perfect conditions for everything to grow. What should have taken months just happened in seconds. When the village chief realizes the crops actually grew, pure excitement explodes out of him, and he celebrates while Shun and the other villagers swarm in to share the joy. Princess Sistina crashes the celebration with a hard dose of caution. Because there's zero precedent, it's the first device she's ever made, and she has no idea what it'll unleash next. The village chief demands, "What do you mean by the effects?" And Princess Sistina answers that by wrestling control over the dragon vein's influence, she can't even guess what wild changes could show up next. The village chief drops to his knees in front of her, fully catching what's going on, and then admits, "That's exactly why I need to ask you for a favor." Princess Sistina begs for permission to dig into how the device will change everything, and Kaido steps up beside her, shouting that they'll go all in to keep everyone's way of life safe. The villagers erupt with excitement, cheering like they've just heard the best news of their lives. They'll jump in however they can, and Shun can barely contain himself. He throws himself forward, volunteering to keep helping too. The whole village rallies behind Princess Sistina and throws their full support behind her work. The village chief leans in and tells Princess Sistina that everyone's already on board with her request. Then he smirks like, "And as chief, I can't be the only holdout, can I?" Princess Sistina nods with calm grace, admitting that if it's reached this point, she can't turn it down. Then the village chief addresses her as his lord. They clasp hands to seal the deal, and Princess Sistina thanks him from the bottom of her heart. Princess Sistina stands triumphant before the thriving crops, eyes blazing with resolve as she swears she'll meet every last expectation. Because as their lord, she'll earn smiles for everyone. And right there in front of Kaido and the village chief, the bountiful harvest proves her leadership is in good hands. The village throws a massive feast to celebrate the harvest's win. Everyone crowds around one huge table stacked high, with dishes made from the brand new crops. Adults and kids crowd around the table in pure joy, while Kaido himself slaps out the food and growls for everyone to dig in. Because this feast isn't just celebration, it's the first spark of the territory's future prosperity. The villagers can't believe their eyes as they taste food so good it blows their minds. Shun practically yells that everything is insanely tasty, and one stunned village woman just stares and whispers, "Wait, you're using the same ingredients we've had forever." The taste hits totally different, so Kaido leans in and asks if anyone will share their recipe with him. The villagers are absolutely over the moon. Now they can feast like this again. The village chief steps up and thanks Princess Sistina for throwing that incredible gathering, even as he admits it might not look grand enough for royalty. Because this is how they say thank you. Princess Sistina swears she truly means it, she genuinely likes it. The celebration doesn't stop when the sun drops. It spills into the night as the villagers huddle together, laughing and bonding hard while they pass around food and drinks like pure joy is contagious. Away from the main commotion, Kaido and Princess Sistina slip out together to a quieter corner. Kaido leans in and asks if she's really having fun. Princess Sistina admits she's been blabbing a little too long. Then Kaido presses, asking if she's finally done. Kaido watches the village's buildings from the calm, silent night, like he's measuring every shadow. He can't stop gushing about how beautiful the village is, and you can tell, every single person genuinely helps each other here. The whole community banded together, backing each other up no matter what. Princess Sistina stares out over her territory, and Kaido's smile drops as his expression turns dead serious. He demands to know if it was really okay to keep the full truth from them, while Princess Sistina just stands there silent, with her back turned. Princess Sistina stands with her back to Kaido, insisting she has zero clue what he means, and Kaido snaps back that she doesn't have to pretend dumb around him. He explains the device is pure magic, but it won't work a single second unless you feed it mana. The dragon vein's mana won't obey anyone without iron control, so Princess Sistina takes over the replenishment herself. Princess Sistina frantically tries to brush the whole thing off. She shrugs it off like it's just another chore for her morning routine, but Kaido snaps back. This isn't as simple as she thinks. Princess Sistina shrugs and says it's really not that hard, at least not compared to everything the people in the village have been dragging through so far. It's nothing. Kaido pushes harder, muttering that someday she'll have to tell them. And right now this is all to stop the villagers from spiraling into worry or guilt. Princess Sistina nods and tells him to keep it locked up tight until the results finally come back. Princess Sistina straight up admits her magic doesn't come close to Sistine's. Kaido blurted out that he wished he could swap places with her right now. Princess Sistina didn't just stop at that. She demanded he help her in other ways too. Princess Sistina lets out a fierce promise to stand by this land together. Kaido nods and agrees right away. Princess Sistina powers through her morning routine aboard the magic device, step by step, like the day depends on it. She slams the last task shut, double-checks everything and confirms she's taking it on. While the villagers keep up their everyday farming, the crops keep thriving, and Kaido jumps into the field chores, stretching, cracking his knuckles, and swinging right into the work. The villagers burst into thanks, saying everything moves way faster with his help, and Kaido just grins back. This is good training for him too. A villager leans in and blurts out, "Can I join in?" Two more villagers rush up and greet them with bright morning wishes. Kaido tells Princess Sistina to rest, but she snaps back that she just woke up a second ago. Then Kaido insists the only way she'll recover her magic power is by shutting down and resting. Princess Sistina snaps back. That's not what I meant, and tracks him down because she can't stand how much of a worrier he is. It honestly makes her a little happier, because at least the crops are finally growing again. Princess Sistina jokes that if they keep this pace, they might even widen the fields later on, and the villagers instantly jump on board, saying they could crank up the variety too. A villager blurts out that they can't possibly push any farther. Princess Sistina blurts, "Why?" Like there's land everywhere. Kaido snaps back that they've got space, but only up to this point. Go past it and they'd be straight up invading their territory. Princess Sistina snaps, "So who is it?" The villagers' faces fall with worry as Kaido gears up to start explaining. Kaido rips the curtain off their demi-humans, and right here in this land, every different demi-human race has carved out its own settlements. Princess Sistina and Kaido right now, they're going over the info they uncovered. With maps and documents laid out like evidence, Kaido keeps talking. Demi-humans aren't humans at all. They're a whole different race with their own habits, customs, and the way they think. Even the kingdom couldn't crack how to handle them, and that mess has sparked conflict after conflict for ages. Princess Sistina declares it loud and clear. This isn't just one race. Kaido claims this territory is packed with multiple species, and says even demi-human races can't coexist here. Princess Sistina instantly clocks it. The last lord didn't abandon this place just because it was rough. The demi-human's situation was the real deal. Kaido tells them they've been keeping total hands-off distance, and the cap-wearing villager nods along, saying as long as they don't move toward the demi-humans won't lift a finger either. Princess Sistina feels this settle her nerves, like a warm blanket in the chaos. Later, right outside the village, Kaido lets out a hope that nothing goes wrong, because he's already remembering how vicious some demi-human groups can be, and that whole non-interference rule is sitting heavy on his mind. As Princess Sistina casts a careful glance away, lost in thought, Princess Sistina leans forward and stares into the forest that guards the edge of their territory. Dense woodland sprawls ahead of them, packed shoulder to shoulder with towering trees and choking green undergrowth. Deep in the forest, shadowy demi-humans swarm the darkness, glowing eyes locked on the humans below. Different races crowd the woods, each marked by their own sharp traits, and the closer they press to the settlement, the more the air feels tight. But they keep to their own territories like the forest itself is divided by force. And while time grinds on, the villagers can't stop thinking about what just happened. One villager blurts out he still can't wrap his head around it. Those monsters look just like ordinary pets. Another just nods, saying they were only trying to survive. Then Kaido and Princess Sistina step forward, and one of the guys addresses her with total respect. A cat-tiered beastman hangs with the crew, Shun included, along with those huge monsters, and tells them straight up, "Be real with people and you'll get along with anyone." Later, the whole village crowds together and Princess Sistina declares, "This is only the start." The villagers burst with gratitude, because ever since she stepped in, the village has brightened up and is fighting back one day at a time toward full life. Kaido watches everything spiral like this, and he just knows, sooner or later, something huge is about to explode. Princess Sistina and Kaido stand shoulder to shoulder in stiff, formal silence right at the forest's edge. Young Shun presses onward, and right in the forest, he comes face to face with wolf creatures. Something feels asterisk off the moment they cry out in pure, desperate distress. Suddenly, beast folk warriors surge in, leopard-spotted, wolf swordsman, and a cat fighter all charging straight at them, while the attackers bark in order to cut them down. The whole village gasps in terror because they instantly recognize them as beastmen. The tension spikes the moment the kids are nearby. Villagers blow past fear and shout, warning everyone to shield the children and keep their eyes on every sign of danger. The leopard beastmen slam to a halt, completely blindsided. Then Princess Sistina whipped out magic and forged an invisible wall barrier in front of it. The cat beastmen stared at the magical protection and instantly recognized it. Kaido cut them off, saying that was enough, and Princess Sistina snapped, "Hey, could you put away anything scary? The kids are watching." Princess Sistina snapped them into focus. These weren't enemies at all, they were allies. The wolf beastmen growled that the humans had no business stepping in because Mutt was their prized food supply, and the cat-eared woman still couldn't wrap her head around the whole idea of allies. She couldn't believe it. Humans were so barbaric they'd even drag monsters into it now. Kaido felt the sharp hostility hanging in the air and couldn't stop wondering what they were supposed to do next. The beastmen thundered that jungle law ruled everything, power was the only proof you even existed, and when Princess Sistina challenged them, the feline beast folk made it brutally clear. Strength came first, always. Princess Sistina caught what was going on, then cracked her knuckles. She was about to show them her power. She rose into the air as a colossal magic circle slammed into place beneath her, and wild magical energy spun around her like a roaring storm. The beast folk warriors froze in pure shock as an overwhelming wave of magic slammed down on them. Kaido immediately clocked it as gravity manipulation magic. Leopard beastmen buckled under the crushing pressure. The beast folk didn't have to guess. They felt the crushing power gap instantly. Princess Sistina didn't waste a second. She made her demand crystal clear, and they had no choice but to listen, because there was no way they could beat her anyway. Power proved in full, she stood there like she owned the world, no doubt, no fear. Later, they stormed into the Beastman village. The place was. It was seriously impressive. These structures were built right into the trees, blending into the forest canopy like they were always meant to be there. Sistina, Kaido, and a handful of beastmen, yeah, even that cat girl, moved through the settlement together, pushing deeper in like they owned the place. Inside, Ixa, clan chief, welcomed them with a sharp smile, and then she made it clear. No human had ever set foot in this place before. Sistina stepped forward and gave her name like a declaration. Sistina Lallert, the new lord of the territory. Ixa caught the vibe instantly and shot back, asking if Sistina was royalty. The princess nodded it was true, and right there Kaido stood close by, lost in thought. He couldn't stop replaying what he'd heard. Beast folk were supposed to be warlike and brutal to outsiders, and he kept himself on guard, ready to shield Sistina the second things turned ugly. Ixa wastes zero time, straight to the point. What the hell is Sistina doing here? The princess says she came to offer her greetings and to make a request. Ixa made it crystal clear. She wanted them to stop messing with the village because the people there hadn't done a thing wrong, and she even admitted the young ones had gotten wild, promising she'd set them straight. Then she shot back, asking if Sistina really thought I'd be dumb enough to declare war or something, and Sistina couldn't believe how fast Ixa caved and confessed everything. The chief immediately apologized, but insisted they were totally fine with how it all turned out. Then she blurted out that one of theirs just got hit. So Sistina was gonna have to make it right, no excuses. Sistina called her out to her face, but that was just a dodge. Ixa already tipped her hand in my mind, and I knew she'd try something like this. So what she just said, it's got me asking one thing, what does that even mean? Sistina clocked it instantly, while Ixa was already clawing for change. When the chief demanded to know why she believed that, Sistina said she could tell just by staring into her eyes. And yeah, the moment she looked, it screamed pure boredom. That made Ixa snap into laughter. She even pointed out how her own kind shrink back in fear. But here was Sistina, stepping into their territory with zero hesitation. And right then, Ixa declared she liked the princess even more. Sistina said she wasn't scared at all because she was stronger. Then Ixa slid in right beside Sistina, clutched her steady, and whispered his demand, "Be my mate." Kaido froze on the spot, his mind racing to process what he'd just heard. Ixa snapped that she was telling Sistina to be her woman, and the princess shot back, "Wait, do you mean my partner?" Ixa made sure she fully got it, then hit her with the truth. If Sistina could stand up to her and not fold, she was more than worthy to stand right beside her. When Sistina snapped, "I'm human," Ixa waved it off like it meant nothing. Race was just a tiny detail to him. She told them that once they mated, she'd wash her hands of Sistina's village completely. Then Sistina snapped back, "So you can refuse, right?" The cat beast woman burst into the conversation with a sharp, ringing voice. I reminded her that Ixa had warned the princess she'd need to pay compensation, and then Ixa pressed Sistina. "Do you really think you can refuse?" Ixa dares them to settle it, who's stronger, him or Ixa. The clan chief lays it out. The Beastman Society runs on survival of the fittest, and just like that, everything clicks into place. The rules are locked in. Ixia flashes a grin and says, "Win this and I'll take Princess Sistina." The princess shoots back, calm and fearless. "If I win, then you'll grant my wish." The two square up, locking eyes like the fight is about to explode. Ready stances, full tension in the air, and Ixia steps in, accepting the challenge. Suddenly, Kaido yells for the princess to hold up, and Princess Sistina spins toward him. Kaido strides up to the front, booming that he's taking that role, no hesitation. Ixia thinks it over for a split second, and then nods, agreeing without hesitation. She can totally go all out when a guy's on the line. Kaido leans in and asks, "What's your name?" And the clan chief drops it like a command. Kaido smiles and whispers, "That's a damn good one." Then Ixia snaps at him, warning, "Don't you dare regret this, even if you end up dying." Princess Sistina lifts her signal, then the battle explodes into action. Right as Kaido and Ixia slam into each other, weapons colliding in a split second. Sparks flew as they tore into fierce, no-holds-barred combat. Ixia slams in a jaw-dropping, high-powered strike, and the fight explodes into full chaos against Kaido. The fight keeps exploding with rapid-fire clashes. Between bursts of steel, Ixia remarks that Kaido's doing better than he seems, and the princess watches from the sidelines, eyes locked on every move. The Beastman's raw strength and lightning-fast speed absolutely outclass everyone. Ixia demands answers from Kaido, then presses Princess Sistina to tell her exactly who he is. Kaido cuts in like, "Yeah, that's her butler." Ixia fires back, demanding to know if that's truly all, because the fight is already roaring and both of them are throwing everything they've got. Kaido smirks and admits it. Yeah, the Beastmen are built stronger, but he and the princess, they've got the sharper skills that actually win fights. Ixia locks her gaze on Kaido's eyes and flat out tells him, "I can tell just by looking." He can't stand the idea of her taking that woman from him, so Kaido drops the question. Like, is she seriously not getting it? The clan chief pushes harder, swearing that woman is his, while Kaido shuts him down and makes his stance crystal clear. Because every instinct in him is roaring that he's stronger, and this isn't about logic at all. As her butler, he swings his sword without hesitation, ready to lay down his life to protect her. Ixia crashes in with a crushing blow against Kaido, and the shockwave hits like thunder. Princess Sistina gasps and shouts his name, terrified for him. Ixia yells back that this isn't about race. It's a showdown between a man and a woman. The clash keeps roaring on with brutal, no-holds-barred intensity. The clan chief mocks Kaido, daring her to admit she actually thinks she can take her on. Kaido fights with everything he's got, but his consciousness starts to slip away. Princess Sistina shot out another call to him, like she wasn't letting him get away. Princess Sistina stands over Kaido, who's beaten and crumpled on the ground, and with fierce eyes she tells him straight up, she believes he can still win. Princess Sistina locks in with pure determination as Kaido clenches his fist. The fight hits its boiling point when Ixia unleashes her ultimate strike. Launching through the air like a bullet, it came down on him with brutal, devastating force. Ixia's strike lands with a thunderous hit, and Kaido gets blasted straight into the ground with a brutal crash. He coughs hard from the hits. Struggling to breathe, he cranes his neck and stares up at his opponent looming right over him. Princess Sistina blares out Kaido's name, and alarms instantly scream. Kaido's fist rockets forward, and in the final seconds, everything comes down to that strike. Lunged forward in one last desperate burst, charging straight at Ixa. So it all comes down to one thing, what Princess Sistina is truly saying. The princess answers with ice-cold calm, like she's begging them not to fight. Kaido nods, confirming it. Beastmen warriors roar out commands to slaughter the humans and guard their chief with their lives. Princess Sistina shouts for everyone to freeze, right now. Ixia straight up admits it. If Kaido hadn't yanked his fist away at the last second, she would have been dead. The clan chief finally admits she's been beaten, while Kaido just stands there, jaw clenched, face stone serious. Ixia shoots Princess Sistina a question, "What do you want from us?" And she quickly clears it up. This isn't about keeping their hands off the village, she needs their help. Princess Sistina steps forward and urges, "Let's team up," promising to turn this whole territory into an even better place. The Beastmen are left completely baffled, just staring in disbelief. Princess Sistina lays out her vision. She's determined to build a kingdom where every race in this land can live side by side, smiling and safe, because to her, race doesn't decide a thing. Ixia spots the Beastmen right in front of them, and snaps that there's absolutely no way she could pull this off when every race is involved. Kaido cuts in and basically says, "You literally just told me you can't do it." Princess Sistina lights up with pure excitement. She's going to prove them wrong and turn this territory into an even richer city than the royal capital. Ixia bursts out laughing at the declaration, and the clan chief fires back that Princess Sistina is absolutely huge. Just like everyone predicted, Ixia steps up and snaps up the challenge. She's ready to take a bite out of this proposal. Princess Sestina leans in and tells her, "I'm putting my trust in you." The three huddle close, standing side by side as brand new comrades. Back at the village, the chief and everyone around him stare with bated breath as the group comes marching in. The village chief jabs a finger and yells that these are the beastmen from the next village over, and the villagers just nod like, "Yeah, we can see that." Then the chief's voice cracks. He turns to Princess Sestina, asking nervously who they are. Princess Sestina presses the chief for a straight answer. "You won't hurt a single villager again, right?" And Ixa confirms it, sealing the promise. The clan chief snaps into defensiveness the moment you press for answers, snapping at them like, "Seriously, stop asking so many questions." An elderly woman frets over what that promise really means, and Kaido snaps at Ixa to stop intimidating the villagers. Then Ixa swears she didn't mean it like that and rushes to apologize. The village chief looks absolutely fed up as Princess Sestina steps in, ready to spill the whole story from her side. A villager blurts out, "So this means the beastmen will actually cooperate with our village?" And the rest just stare, totally lost, trying to wrap their heads around what this deal really demands. In the next scene, Ixa tells them they've officially agreed to get along, then points over and says, "Whatever you need, ask the boss over there." Kaido blurts out, stunned, "Boss him." Beastmen warriors huddle side by side like they're a single unit, and one person watches their hierarchy closely. Then a warrior snaps that Princess Sestina is at the top, so yeah, that means she's their boss too. The observer takes it all in and realizes this is just how Beastman society runs, pure, clear hierarchy. Princess Sestina fires the question, demanding to know what every single person wants. Ixa says they have to start by checking, ask what they're supposed to do once it's all done. Then the clan chief chimes in that they've got to figure out what this territory is missing. Ixa leans in and gestures while the village chief listens, eyes narrowing like he's weighing the decision. Then the clan chief breaks it down, showing animal silhouettes, and Ixa makes sure everyone hears it loud and clear. It's all about the meat. The village chief nods and admits it, meat and fish are always running out. Kaido chimes in that sure they can grow vegetables, but if they want meat, they've got to hunt for it themselves. Ixa bursts out, proudly claiming beastmen are carnivores who barely touch vegetables. Then the clan chief flips the numbers and shows their intake is 3 times what humans eat, while the young beastman kid stands right there with the group, listening in as they hash out exactly what they need to survive. Kaido rips into them, "Animals aren't like crops. Once they grow up, they don't keep producing fruit every single year." Then he snarls a warning, "If you slaughter them all, the wild stops existing." Princess Sestina leans in, eyes sharp, and starts processing the challenge like it's a puzzle she refuses to lose. Princess Sestina's face snaps into focus, determination blazing in her eyes as she vows, "I've got this." Then she lays it out, she'll forge a new kind of meat, one that spares everyone from suffering. Ixa looks utterly lost, blurting out, "What are you talking about, Princess?" Princess Sestina lays out her plan with sharp diagrams. What if one animal could fuel them again and again, and what if the meat could be duplicated too? The villagers and beastmen start blurting questions in a frenzy, totally lost as Princess Sestina's proposal leaves them scratching their heads. Someone shouts for Ixa, the clan chief answers right away, and then Ixa finally cuts in. "Where are we supposed to find a beast like that? No way, that's impossible." A shadowy figure lines in and tells her, "If you say you can do it, then yeah, everything points to that." Kaido says it with full confidence, "Her Highness never talks about the impossible." Princess Sestina bursts out that nothing is impossible. She'll track them down no matter what it costs. She fires the question at Ixa, will she actually help? Ixa snaps back, demanding to know whether the princess is serious. Princess Sestina grins like the sun and lays out a plan that's meant to make everyone smile. Kaido snaps at Ixa, "Wait, isn't that how the beastmen do it? Whoever loses has to follow whoever wins." Ixa's face hardens into a calm, accepting resolve. The clan chief nods along to the deal and Ixa blurts out, "So what do I do now?" Princess Sestina lays it out for her first, "Go hunt a creature we can eat." Ixa grins and says just one is enough. The tiny cat beastmen erupt with excitement and start cheering, then one beast man bellows, "Wild boars are right nearby and they're going to tear the whole herd down." Princess Sestina blurts her urgent protest, insisting just one is enough. Ixa blinks in confusion, why not just take more, right? But she relents. Princess Sestina shoots back that there's no reason to spill more lives than they truly need. Kaido tells everyone, once we're done we're heading back to the mansion, right away to grab the tools we need. Later, the crew drags the tables and gear outside, and the whole work area springs into place under the open sky. Ixa bursts back in clutching a wild boar, shouting that she caught it, and all the little cat beastmen swarm around her. Then Princess Sestina steps in and gives her a heartfelt thanks. Ixa leans in and asks, "Is one enough?" The herd has over 10 of them, but the clan chief nods, "That's plenty." Then Princess Sestina cuts in, blunt and deadly serious, "We're taking a life, so we take only what we need." Ixa snaps back, "That's not true," and calls it a total waste, Princess Sistina just grins and says, if I really do have one, I'll be fine for a whole month. Kaido asks, slow and careful. 1 month. Princess Sistina flicks her hands with pure electricity, shouting at them to do exactly that. Ixa stares at the magical circular thing sitting on the table and blurts, what is that? Princess Sistina grins and says it's a magic device that duplicates meat. She first built it for vegetables, then tweaked it. Ixa just freezes in total disbelief. Wait, you can do something like that. Ixa orders them to hack the meat up right now. Then Kaido steps forward and declares, all set. The whole group bursts with excitement as Princess Sistina and Ixa stand over the device table, and the princess declares, we're trying one. It all kicks off right here. Meat gets slapped onto the magical circle. The moment the device kicks in, it whirs to life. Then duplicate meat portions slam onto the plate. The duplication kicks off with a bang. Meat explodes into more meat right before their eyes, rolls of it lifting and spinning above the magic circle as it hums to life. Ixa blurts that it truly skyrocketed, and the young cat beastman just stares, stunned. A villager yells that the supply has grown too, but Princess Sistina shuts it down with the rules. Duplicate it too many times and the taste goes to trash. So yeah, there's a hard limit on how many times they can run it. Ixa can't believe it. Princess Sistina fires back that with just one of these, their resources will skyrocket. Kaido then slams the truth down. Duplicated meat turns stale fast, and you can't duplicate it forever, but it'll stay preserved as long as there's real meat. The young cat beastman panics and asks how they'll keep it from going bad fast, and Princess Sistina snaps that she'll freeze it and preserve it with her magic for now. Then the talk spirals into bigger problems as Ixa points out the populations exploding and hunting can't keep up, and Sistina admits, shockingly, that hunting is riddled with more flaws than she ever imagined. The whole demo wraps up with fresh meat sitting right on the duplication table. They're basically saying you can grab meat safely, no hunting required, and it sounds like a relief. Princess Sistina plants herself in the spotlight, eyes blazing as she vows to forge something this world has never even seen. Kaido just watches, cool as ever, while Ixa freezes in shock at the princess's audacity. The tests roll on with the duplication device. 2 stacked portions of meat land on the magical circle. Then Kaido spots it instantly. The meat looks off like it's failing. He snaps that they've hit the duplication limit. Princess Sistina checks the results herself and grimly confirms the truth. She can duplicate all she wants, but she still can't eat any more of those. The young cat beastman blurts that they should line up the replicated meat in order, then even pitches using the leftovers as fertilizer for the fields. And Ixa with the little beastman just stare at the portions laid out in front of them, realizing this haul should keep them good for a while. Princess Sistina hurls her magic at a degraded chunk of meat, and the moment it starts changing, it screams the danger of overduplication, because it hardens into rock before it can even finish. Later, inside the village warehouse, Kaido leans in and asks the mayor for permission to use the place, and the village chief points them to the storage room, right over there. Outside by the warehouse, Kaido grinds through the heavy lifting in the background, while Princess Sistina leans in and presses Ixa like, are you really serious about what you just said? Ixa can't stop questioning whether alchemy can truly forge living beings, and when he brings up the idea of creating brand new life, Princess Sistina just answers with pure simplicity. She pushes for answers and Princess Sistina flat out says, in theory, yeah, you can. Then she slams the brakes and warns, but you can't make something out of nothing. Kaido lays it all out about Princess Sistina. Her alchemy lets her reshuffle matter like it's nothing, and she makes it look effortless thanks to her massive knowledge and years of experience. Ixa's eyes light up with possibilities, and that's when the source animal shows up. Princess Sistina nods, yes, and Ixa practically roars. Then that's even more reason to hunt them. Princess Sistina shuts that mindset down fast. She warns that if they wipe them all out, the whole ecosystem crumbles, and she makes it crystal clear. They don't need to hunt for unnecessary lives. Princess Sistina delivers a sharp, no-joke statement, demanding everyone respects life. She flat out declares that if someone can't respect life, they have no business being part of this process. The whole group goes silent, and Princess Sistine starts sewing and stacking up the meat, rolling it with fierce focus like she's got no time to lose. Kaido and Ixa just stare, faces locked in deep thought as they absorb every word the princess spits out. Kaido kicks off the brainstorming and blurts out that he remembers a cow in the south that actually grew mushrooms on its own body. Then he's like, imagine if we could pull off something like that. Princess Sistina lights up the second she hears it, and she starts pitching wild ideas like crafting fruit-shaped meat from the animal itself. Princess Sistina leans in and demands to know what Kaido is really planning. Then Kaido smirks and says he's got a concept like it's nothing. Before the words even land, Ixa jumps in, worried sick, and asks if it's truly that easy. She insists it won't be simple at all and warns it'll take ages. The group nods like, got it. and throws all their energy into the long haul of building something that lasts. Princess Sestina snaps her attention to the urgent work that has to be built right now. She kicks things off by announcing the town's water supply, then lays out the whole plan, dig trenches, set the pipes, and hook every house and field up. Because she's determined to pull their way of life closer and closer to the royal capital, step by step. Work is about to kick off on the water project, and the village chief blasts a megaphone, yelling for every tough beastman to step aside and let the real heavy lifting fall on the strong teams. While a young beastman hauls a massive pipe past the houses, Princess Sestina calls out to anyone who's free, "Come with me," and dares them to craft a magic tool to cleanse the river. But the group squirms and admits they're way too scared to believe they can do something like that. Princess Sestina steadies the whole group, insisting it's no big deal, she'll take care of the crucial parts herself, and all she needs is for everyone to help her put the thing together. The beastmen nod, swear they get it, and promise they'll throw everything they've got into it. Construction explodes across the village as beastmen teams huddle up to build the water infrastructure. Pipes get hauled in, parts snap together, and piece by piece the whole village roars to life. The work rages on with jaw-dropping teamwork. Villagers and beastmen move like one, laying pipes, hauling in equipment, and stitching the water purification system together piece by piece until it starts to feel real. Everyone pitches in with what they're best at, and once the work really starts piling up, the other beastmen villages step in to help. Right when Princess Sestina's group needs it most, shoving reassurance into their hearts. "Don't worry, you're not alone." They tell her, "Don't worry, you'll get used to it. It's way easier than you think." Then they admit her village has it tougher and promise once they're finished here, they'll roll right over to help the other village too, and the whole group agrees without hesitation. Kaido clocks that nobody had to scrap for the help. Ixa wrestles with the thought that there must be a reason, while Princess Sestina stares at the shock of it all. She never imagined they'd accept their help that easily. The long-haired beastman drops the truth, she'd been craving a change, and the two other beastmen instantly nod, saying that this new direction is exactly the right one. The whole crew forms up side by side, locking in on their brand new path like it's the only thing that matters. Ixa straight up admits, yeah, it's not such a bad change after all. Kaido admits it, yeah, he can see it clearly now. In the background, the village houses sit peacefully while everything finally clicks into place. When the workday finally ends, Ixa snaps, "All right, everyone, back to the village," and the whole crew gets ready to move. The village chief admits that trekking back alone would be brutal, and Princess Sestina nods, then decides it's time to create a proper transportation system for the future. Ixa tells them they can crash for the night because they're worn out, and Princess Sestina gladly accepts, until she points out she can't leave the village empty overnight. Ixa tells Sestina to get the carriage ready, but she points out there aren't any horses in sight, so Princess Sestina shuts the whole idea down. Princess Sestina fires off another scheme and insists they need a more convenient way to get around, while Ixa squints at the princess's plotting and demands, "What do you mean by convenient?" Princess Sestina lights up and declares she'll forge a teleportation magic tool that lets them move instantly. She even pulls out a diagram to prove it, and the village chief and everyone else freeze in shock, because the chief can't wrap his head around how she'd build something like that with zero materials, as the whole group grapples with the wild idea of teleportation. Kaido leans in and tells everyone loud and clear, the princess won't talk about what she can't do. Ixa starts to wonder if Princess Sestina finally got the message, then catches herself and snaps back. No, Sestina would do it for real. Princess Sestina clenches her fist, sparks flying from her grin, and declares that starting tomorrow, life is about to get even busier. During the explanation, the young beastman leans in and blurts, "So what exactly is a transfer magic tool?" The whole crew cheers that they want the explanation too, and Ixa lines in like, "That's a great question." Then she says. She steps up, makes everyone hush, and tells them to listen real close. Then Princess Sestina thanks the whole group for asking. Princess Sestina dives right into it, and she's even got an eye-catching visual proof. This tool can yank things from far away and transport them instantly. Princess Sestina lays it all out in excruciating, mind-blowing technical detail. Kaido slices in mid-sentence and tells the princess she's done explaining. Princess Sestina just nods and sums it up. Basically, it'll be way easier to travel between the villages. The crew keeps digging into the teleportation tool, and Princess Sestina asks straight up if it's actually convenient. Kaido says yes, but then hits them with the truth. This thing is insanely hard, and one slip could yank someone to a bizarre location or crush them mid-transfer. When crushed lands, the young beastman jolts in total shock. Kaido says the tool is already working in the capital just for hauling goods. Princess Sestina presses further, explaining that yes, people could use it too, but no one dares because safety still isn't guaranteed. The beastman grins and points out that even something as simple as moving things would be a huge convenience. Princess Sestina bursts with excitement, and insists they build a transfer magic tool that can move people too. The whole group fires back at once, then Ixa blurts out, "Is it dangerous?" Princess Sistina stands her ground and swears they'll make it safe. But the Beast Man can't help it. He wonders if she can truly pull it off, because in his head she's asking for the impossible again. Princess Sistina strides forward with zero doubt, and promises she'll prove them wrong. Kaido nods at her iron will, and the Beastmen and the rest watch in stunned silence. He tells them to grab the materials first, then they can make it happen. The whole crew bursts up to a looming cave entrance. Kaido tells them the materials they need are hidden right inside this cave, and Ixa shoots him a grateful look, thanking him for leading the way. Kaido snaps whether Ixa shouldn't have dragged in backup, and Ixa shoots back with fearless confidence that she's more than enough, while Princess Sistina doubts they can even stand against the monsters. And Ixa reassures her with total confidence that they'll be fine. Kaido clocks it and smirks, because somehow that's reassuring. The crew slips into the cave and pushes through the jagged, rocky maze inside. Princess Sistina points out that seen this way, it's basically impossible to miss, and Kaido nods, saying it's an airtight disguise that'll fool even animals. Ixa snaps at them, telling them to get moving right now. Rock-gaunt monstrosities, massive and terrifying, burst into view right in front of them. Ixa snaps that they're monsters made of minerals, and Kaido adds the wild truth. Those things generate and hoard tons of ores inside their own bodies. Princess Sistina practically bursts with joy, yelling that it's exactly like the book, and she's thrilled to see it with her own eyes. Then she points them out like treasure chests, because they've got exactly what they need right now. Ixa explodes into a reaction after she makes that face right in front of a monster. Princess Sistina orders Kaido to go easy on the torso, because those rockets keep their ore in their stomachs. Kaido tells her, "Leave it to me," and the moment she agrees, the battle ignites. Ixa and Kaido crash into the rock gaunts and go toe-to-toe in a brutal fight. They unleashed perfectly timed strikes, cutting down the creatures together. The battle escalates hard as they team up, striking in sync to wipe out the mineral monsters. Ixa shrugs like, "Yeah, this was bound to happen," and Kaido just nods, admitting it's not that bad. The rock gaunts start crumbling mid-attack, collapsing right as they strike. Kaido launches into a chilling explanation. Rock gaunts will keep regenerating from the terrain around them, and the only way to stop them is to smash their cores. Princess Sistina shouts for the perfect timing, and then she unleashes her sunlight arrow. Princess Sistina looses her sunlight arrow and hurls it like pure fate, smashing it straight into the fallen rock gaunts with full blazing force. Magic energy screamed through the cave, blasting straight at the rock gaunt cores to smash them for good. The spell lands perfectly, rock gaunts shatter under the magical blast, their core getting obliterated, and as they start falling apart, Ixa whips out one last crushing strike. After the fight, Princess Sistina throws the biggest celebration, beaming as she praises Kaido and Ixa for their killer teamwork. Two fighters stand tall, grinning in triumph, while the defeated monsters lie all around them. Princess Sistina lunges into Ixa's arms, glowing with pure joy after their first successful material gathering mission. Back in the village, Princess Sistina slammed her plan on everyone. She's making the magic tool right now, and she's calling on all of them to help. The villagers and beastmen swarm around her, thrilled and buzzing with excitement. The whole crew huddles over the blueprints, all fired up and ready to kick off construction. As soon as the construction wraps, a huge teleportation circle platform snaps into existence, fully finished and packed with 4 ornate pillars. Ixa blurts out, "Is it done?" Princess Sistina smiles and says the prototype is finished, while Kaido shakes his head and insists they can tweak it later, but right now they've got to test whether it actually works. The whole crew braces themselves as the first test looms. Princess Sistina plants herself on the platform and shouts, "Teleport," and the moment she casts, the magic circle erupts with blazing power. But everything spirals. Kaido screams warnings to get back and run. Kaido tears across the room to Princess Sistina, shouting her name, then demands to know if she's hurt. Princess Sistina thanks him, then drops the real bombshell. Something bigger and far more important just happened. Kaido lays it out. Turns out the test target didn't land where it was supposed to. It got yeeted into the sky by the teleport. The whole crew stares as a crate pops in and vanishes again and again through the teleportation sequence. Kaido clocks it instantly. The destination is slipping, unstable as hell. Princess Sistina stares at the problem, her thoughts swirling like a storm. Princess Sistina spots the real cause of the malfunction and goes again, and Kaido wastes no time asking, "Did you find something?" One of the platform's pillars starts flickering with magical chaos, while they gear up for yet another test. Princess Sistina suddenly gets an epiphany, and Ixa's eyes go wide in shock when yet another test flings the object to a brand new location again. Kaido locks onto the real problem. Dragon veins are messing with the teleportation magic, and it's throwing everything off. Kaido breaks down the technical problem. Turns out those dragon veins are being controlled by a magical tool. As the teleport kicks in, the magic that's been buried in the earth collides with the spell's own power. Then the destination starts wobbling, unstable, and ready to break apart. Princess Sistina snaps that it's about control, not crushing people. Because no matter how perfectly they set it up, one big magical hit will shatter the whole arrangement. Ixa is totally lost in the tangled explanation, then blurts out the one question that matters. So, we can't use that teleport device here, right? Kaido answers coldly. When it fires, it unleashes a massive magic surge instantly and nothing can shut it down. Princess Sistina jumps in with a plan. If there's a marker that keeps her eyes on the destination, it could even help shut down the dragon vein's influence. She thinks it through with a fierce focus, jaw set like a verdict. Then Ixa blurts out asking for a marker. She points to a powerful magic stone or something close and Princess Sistina instantly gets it. Those stones are soaked in magic. Princess Sistina tells everyone that magic stones are the heart of every magical tool, and they've been trusted for ages. But the truth is, the stones they're using now are just common stuff, and a marker demands something way more powerful. Kaido tells them to order one straight from the capital. It'll take time, but he swears they can make it happen. Princess Sistina shuts it down fast. A magic stone that's only powerful won't match up with the dragon's veins magic. Kaido snaps it into focus. Princess Sistina needs a magic stone that matches the dragon's vein, and Sistina nods, saying, "Yes, that's exactly what I need." Kaido snarls at the idea that something this convenient could even exist, because the situation already feels hopeless. Princess Sistina snaps her gaze to Ixa and then he blurts out if her village has magic stones. Ixa hesitates and blurts out that they don't use magic tools, and Princess Sistina's eyes widen in shock. Ixa blurts out it's nothing, like she's trying to shut the moment down fast. Princess Sistina squares up to Ixa face to face because she can feel it. Something is brewing in Ixa's plans. Ixa swears she knows nothing, but Princess Sistina snaps that she's lying, then presses her hard, demanding the truth, while Ixa keeps trying to dodge the question. Princess Sistina leans in and presses her plea harder and harder, her excitement practically bursting through every word. Ixa and Kaido look totally beaten, because her relentless persistence just wouldn't quit. Princess Sistina leans in and asks Ixa if he knows any other demi-human races, or if he's ever seen villages built across this land, and Ixa answers, confirming it. Among them, the elf clan is the magic powerhouse, so yeah, they might have something just like that. The second Princess Sistina hears elves, her whole face lights up, because everyone whispers they've got magical technology unlike anyone else. She pops the question, asks where they're headed, then says she'd love to meet them, because the crew is apparently right near elven territory. Kaido steps in and tells Princess Sistina to calm down right now. She blurts out a frantic apology, admitting she lost her composure. Kaido then snaps at Ixa to stop riling the princess up, and Ixa fights back, saying it's not her fault, then calls him a jealous butler. Princess Sistina presses Ixa on whether she knows about the elven village. Then Ixa admits she does, but basically won't vouch for it. Ixa tells you elves are reclusive and barely ever step out of their forest. She hasn't laid eyes on them in years, and they've fully sealed themselves off from every other race. Kaido and Princess Sistina take one look around and realize this race feels painfully cautious. But there's no one else. Princess Sistina steps in and insists she'll meet them face to face, then judge for herself. Princess Sistina declares they're heading straight for the elves, then turns to Ixa and asks if she'll guide them. Ixa presses, is there any other way at all? Ixa finally snaps and agrees to guide them. Princess Sistina and the crew gear up to leave, while Kaido watches from the shadows, eyes locked in the background. The squad steps into the elf forest, and giant ancient trees loom overhead like living towers, bathing everything in pure, otherworldly magic. Princess Sistina stares into a strange forest and swears it shouldn't feel this real. Just minutes ago, everything looked normal. Kaido spots the vegetation is wrong, and standing there, he feels so small it's like he's a dwarf next to those towering trees. Princess Sistina wears a pensive look as they push deeper into the forest, and Ixa says, this is a forest the elves built with their own hands, only, even I don't know the full story behind it. Kaido demands, are there elves up ahead? And Ixa answers, probably, then she gets grilled as the doubt keeps piling up. Ixa bursts out that the last time she stepped foot here was around 30 years ago. And back then too, the village refused to let her in. Kaido leans in, and suddenly the questions start getting sharper as he presses Ixa for more. Princess Sistina keeps marching down the path, but the air feels wrong, like trouble's right around the corner. Kaido suddenly realizes they've been chasing their tails the whole time. Princess Sistina declares this thing is full of curses, then leans in and asks what an elven barrier even is, and you can feel the specialty in the air. Ixa explains she told them elves usually keep their hands off the outside world, but this time, it's different. Kaido spots something up ahead, and Ixa admits it feels like she's not wanted here, like the whole place keeps replaying the same scenery over and over again. Kaido roars out a warning, and Ixa fires back a grateful thanks him as he saved her from a brutal threat. Alexa drops the truth about how she escaped before the war. She wasn't alone, she had a guide back then. And listen, she's never pushed through the barrier by herself, not even once. Princess Sistina leans in, listens hard, then starts dissecting the whole situation like it's a puzzle she's determined to crack. Princess Sistina snaps her weapon up in one fierce, determined motion. Ixa snaps at the sudden shift, and Kato barrels in, shouting for the princess. Princess Sistina finally speaks up. She gets it now. Princess Sistina snaps that the barrier isn't choking the whole forest. It's playing tricks on the senses, and she's already set it to treat them like the intruders. Kaito blurts it out, she's right. The magic can't see the barrier's center, so it has no way to keep that effect running. That barrier is messing with their senses, not the forest itself. So Princess Sistina snaps to it and decides they just need to run wild. Princess Sistina barrels ahead, and the whole crew surges with raw power, trying to smash through the barrier before it shuts them out. An elven watcher lurks in the shadows, eyes locked on them, trying to guess the thoughts racing through their head. Princess Sistina lets out a laugh, this is kind of fun, and Kaito chips in just like a princess, huh? Ixa then watches them like, looks like they're enjoying this more than they're struggling. The elf realizes they're about to punch through if this doesn't stop, and that thought hits like a disaster. The elf archer launches from the trees, firing volleys that come out of nowhere. Princess Sistina throws herself into the fight, weaving through the chaos and snapping back with deadly hits as arrows streak through the forest. The elf spots something shocking, then blurts out, I found it. The elf archer knocks an arrow and lets it fly, bam. It hits dead on and someone drops hard from the crushing impact. Princess Sistina screams for Kaito. Then a hooded elf lunges in, scoops him mid-fall and tells her, Princess, leave it to me. Princess Sistina rushes in and asks if Kaito's hurt, and Kaito shoots back a grateful thanks to the elf. The elf grabs Ixa's attention and orders, let go. Princess Sistina stands beside Ixa, stunned as everything that just happened crashes into her mind. The elf strides up to Princess Sistina and calls herself the new lord, saying she came to speak with everyone in the elf village. Then her tone snaps like a switch, and she explodes in fury, demanding they go home and bellowing that humans don't belong here. Princess Sistina stays eerily calm and tells her she's not here to fight. Yet the elf won't buy it for a second, snarling that she was taught humans are nothing but barbarians and there's no way she'll ever let them anywhere near the village. Princess Sistina snaps back that humans aren't barbarians at all. They're gentle, kind souls, and the elf immediately screams that she's full of lies, calling out the fact that anyone who can still laugh while sprinting through a forest rigged with traps has no kindness left in them. Princess Sistina admits it was only because they loved sprinting full speed and that they just want to talk, but the elf won't buy it, snapping that as the gatekeeper she won't let them through as long as she's standing there. Just as someone fires up a protest, the elf shuts them down with a deadly technique. They snuck in, and the second all three hit the ground, they crumpled together like one, knocking out cold. The elf jolts awake, ropes digging in, and pure confusion floods his face. Kaito's over there cooking when he snaps to her that she's awake, and he says he already stashed the cat in his magic storage so it'll be ready for lunchtime. Princess Sistina drags her into lunch plans and tells her not to panic, and the elf immediately swears she's not going to eat her. Kaito ladles the food out and tells the elf, eat as much as you want. Princess Sistina digs in like she means it. When the elf takes a bite, her eyes blow wide and she goes, oh wow, it's delicious asterisk. Kaito realizes she's totally into it. The elf tells him straight up, hunger and a dead drop of magic are what knocked her down. Kaito admits he was stunned when she suddenly collapsed, but now it all clicks and he finally understands. The elf thanks them for saving her, and Princess Sistina waves it off, saying not to worry, then smiles and says she's okay with Sisti as a name, but she still wants to know what her real name is. The elf looked totally baffled when Princess Sistina casually said she was the new lord. Princess Sistina tells her that she poured some of her magic into the elf to help him, and Ixa blurts out, his name's Fina. Princess Sistina's eyes instantly brim with tears the moment that name is spoken. Ixa grabs Fina's attention and demands to know why she's hanging around humans, so Fina turns, realizes Ixa is a beast man, and looks genuinely stunned. Princess Sistina steps in, voice trembling, and admits this is the first time they've truly talked at all, because their earlier meeting wasn't a conversation. It was a full-on fight. Fina finally admits she's only run into them a handful of times before. Ixa blurts out that a wild amount has gone down, and now they're finally working side by side with the humans. Princess Sistina can't stop wondering why a beastman is traveling with humans, and Ixa quickly tells her, don't worry, he just wants to talk. He's got zero plans to fight. Fina studies them hard, then nods and admits it. These people really aren't bad. She agrees to help, and Princess Sistina lets her hands work, untying her in a flash. Fina practically bursts with gratitude, then promises to lead them straight to the village. Fina tells them this is exactly how she's thanking them for helping her. The whole crew charges through the forest side by side, heading straight for the elf village. Fina drives them deeper into the forest with mysterious guidance, and Princess Sistina realizes that glow isn't random, it's pointing them straight down the right path. Then Kaido cuts in, explaining it's a spell that lets them break through the barrier. Fina thinks it sounds perfect, and she can't resist the idea she's about to try it herself. Then she drops the truth, there's no way they can use it. It's an elf-made creation forged right alongside the barrier itself, and only elves can activate it. Princess Estina and the others stare in shock as Fina somehow recreates the spell, then Fina grins and says, I watched it up close, so I figured it out. Princess Estina, Kaido, and Ixa are frozen in shock by what just went down. They finally reach the elven village, and Kaido just stares. Houses are carved right into giant trees, stitched together with rope bridges and winding paths. The architecture fits the forest so perfectly it feels like it was always there. Princess Estina practically bursts with excitement, calling it wonderful, a city built in harmony with nature. Then Kaido quietly taps the brakes, warning her to keep her voice down or she'll spook the villagers. Fina blurts out an apology, then the elf villagers spot them fast, staring and going, humans and even beastmen in our village. Right then, 3 elf women stride up toward them. The one in the middle swings the door open and welcomes Fina home, smiling like he's been waiting for her the whole time. Princess Estina, Kaido, and Ixa all go rigid in shock when they realize who just walked up to them. Fina's older sister steps up to introduce the village chief. Her twin sister, Ryuna, and Princess Estina instantly clocks it. That's why Fina looks exactly like them, and Kaido confirms they're identical. Ryuna greets them with a grin, saying she's been waiting forever, and the wind has already told her all about them. Princess Estina and Kaido got blindsided. Turns out the wind itself ratted them out to her. Ryuna even admits she knows they helped Fina, and as the village chief she steps forward to thank Princess Estina for saving her. Her older sister jumps in too, and Princess Estina waves it off, saying she only did what any person would do. The vibe flips instantly when Ryuna's sister clocks Ixa's face. Since it's been ages, Ixa nods and asks, straight up, how many years have passed. Ryuna's sister freezes when she spots Ixa, an honest-to-goodness beastman, standing here, and the shock hits even harder because he's with a human. Ixa admits it. She's just as shocked as everyone else that Ryuna ended up becoming the chief. The whole group just stands there as tension snaps tighter and tighter between them. Ixa suddenly lunges onto Ryuna's sister and blurts that she missed her, only for the sister to snap back, don't just jump on me like that. Kaido and Princess Estina stare at the whole scene, totally baffled, like they can't figure out what's really going on between these two. Ixa opens up about how badly she missed Ryuna's sister. Sure, 10 years is basically nothing to an elf, but for her, that silence was brutal and loneliness ate at her every day. For Ixa, it felt like time stretched into an eternity. The sister won't have it. She swears it's a lie, and she adds that it's been a long time for her too. Ixa leans in and carefully asks what they really mean to each other. Ixa practically bursts with excitement, announcing that they've pledged their futures to each other. Then the story hits you. They used to play together when they were little, but their old chief made life hell and ordered them to cozy up to the beastmen. Then they got busted for secretly meeting them. Eventually, the old chief got hit with a sickness, and Ryuna stepped up to become the new chief. Ryuna's sister looks at the village changing day by day and insists the outsiders' views should shift too. But the furious elf villagers shout that nobody will ever accept Lady Ryuna marrying a beastman, and then Ixa steps in, demanding they get married right now. The sister bluntly admits that life is way better now than it used to be. Princess Estina swears this is a whole new kind of battle, and now Kaido finally gets why they hesitated the moment the elves came up. But if these two actually click with each other, the villagers might finally hear them out. Princess Estina lanes in and asks, can you help us? Ryuna's ready to say yes, but even if she's totally fine, she still has to convince the whole village. The village is shifting, but since they've been sealed off from the outside world for ages, prejudice still rots deep inside everyone. And on top of that, fresh problems keep piling up, so they can't afford to work together right now. Right now, the elves are staring with worry. Princess Estina snaps that they'll fix this problem immediately. Elves stare at humans like, what can you possibly do? And suddenly it's clear this is an elf problem, not something that matches human life. Princess Estina stands tall, radiating fearless confidence. That's exactly why you've got to try it. Ryuna hears Princess Estina's fearless offer and can't help but think, this might be my shot. After a beat, she nods, okay, we'll do it. The moment the words hit the air, the male elf nearby blurts out in shock. Princess Estina steps in and lays out her logic. If she can fix the village's problems, then she can absolutely win the rest of them over too. Ryuna grins, then tells them, let's give it everything together. Princess Estina, Kaido, and Ryuna link hands in a bold show of unity. swearing together that their partnership is locked in. Ryuna spills the truth about what's been crushing the elves. It's a food crisis, plain and simple. Ryuna blurts out that their staple food is fruits and veggies, but the harvest has turned wild and unpredictable. So Princess Sistina snaps right on it, asking if the crops can't grow right anymore. She asks to tour the fields and Ryuna doesn't hesitate. He agrees and leads the way. Kaido and Ixa don't hesitate, they decide to tag along too. They roll up to the elf fields, and Princess Sistina's eyes widen at the breathtaking farmland stretching out before them. Ryuna just grins and says, "This is it." The elves told him they've been farming this exact way since the village was first founded, and they've handed those skills down from one generation to the next. Princess Sistina steps closer, leaning in to get a better look at the trees. Princess Sistina's eye flares with a brilliant glow as she spots something hidden. Right when she thinks the dragon's vein magic is everywhere in these trees, Ryuna suddenly freezes in shock, because she can tell. Princess Sistina presses Ryuna for answers. When did the harvest start turning unstable? Ryuna replies, "It's been a few years. Before that, everything was perfectly fine." Princess Sistina thanks her, because now she finally gets it and the real cause clicks into place. Ryuna blurts out that the dragon vein is unstable, and Kaido snaps, "So it's the same reason as our village." The crew huddles over possible answers and Ixa drops a bombshell. Back in the Beastman village, they somehow got by with magic tools. Then Kaido blurts, "So is that what they're calling a control device?" Princess Sistina can't stop thinking. If they had that power, they could take over the dragon vein. Kaido blurts out what not enough even means, and Ryuna lays it all out, spelling out the whole situation. The magic pumped through the dragon veins hits almost the exact same level in both this village and theirs. Ixa can't for the life of her figure out what's even wrong with that. Princess Sistina drops a shocking fact: this is just how the elves are. Princess Sistina spills what she dug up in her research. Turns out elves don't summon magic from inside their bodies like humans do. They stare at old books for answers and then pull magic in from the outside world. Ryuna confirms it's true, and Princess Sistina pushes on, because that's exactly why elves pick places cursed or blessed by the dragon veins. Ryuna drops more context. This place was even more wrecked back then, and Ixa clocks the old tense slip in her voice instantly. Ryuna tells them that not long ago, this spot was where the dragon veins ran the strongest across the whole area. But now the total amount of dragon veins is basically the same as anywhere else. The chat keeps rolling about the dragon vein crisis, and Princess Sistina finally admits the brutal truth. She doesn't have the magic power to fix it. Ryuna snaps and confirms it. Yep, that assessment is spot on. Princess Sistina realizes this isn't just about the crops anymore. Something far more terrifying is brewing. The elves nod along and basically say, "Trust us, seeing it firsthand is way faster." Then guide the crew to a new spot, where the scene flips to reveal an incredible elf structure, all elaborate architecture, hidden among the trees. In a fancy tent-like room, the group is led to a sleeping elderly elf, curled up and still as the night watches. The elves lean in and tell him, "You've been out cold for years." Ryuna blurts out that this guy is her grandfather, the old village chief. Right then Princess Sistina freezes, stares, and clocks the problem instantly. It's magic deficiency syndrome, a disease that hits races like elves. A bone-chilling vision flashes. An elf's body buckles, collapses, and turns to dust, sealing his death. Kaido says he's heard of it, and Ixa snaps that if elves don't gulp down enough magic, this is exactly what happens. Ryuna drops even darker details. Some elves are already dead, and the rest are still lying in sleep, not just her grandfather but more than that. Things got so desperate that their parents packed up and vanished, hunting for a brand new place to finally settle down. The twin elves stare at the empty doorway and realize their parents still haven't come back. Then the true weight of it all slams into place. The twin elves clasp hands, their faces sagging with helpless worry. One blurts, "Is there any way out?" The other shakes their head, powerless, admitting, "We're out of options. That's all we can do." The group just stands there, watching the elf twins fight for every breath in silence. The sisters wrap each other in a tight embrace beneath the decorated canopy, chasing comfort like it's their only lifeline. Princess Sistina clenches her fists at her sides, watching their despair wash over them. Princess Sistina's eyes snap with fierce determination. Her face tightens as she absorbs everything she's learned about the elves' desperate plight. Ixa suddenly gets a wild idea right at the very end. "So it's that whole dragon veins problem, right?" She asks straight out if they can't patch it up with that control device somehow. Princess Sistina lays it out straight. If they want to make this work, they've got to crank up the dragon vein first, then wrestle it under control. Trying to control it alone won't fix the real problem. They don't have the magic power to back it up. Ixa stares down Princess Sistina, jaw set, and declares she can absolutely pull it off, because out of everyone, it should be the princess. Ryuna watches the whole exchange like it's a countdown, while Princess Sistina fires back with total confidence. Of course I'll do it, Sachai. That's exactly why I'm here. Her resolve blazes, and Kaido, Ixa, and Ryuna stare on, hope roaring back into their hearts. The elf twin shoots the princess a serious question. Can she really pull that off? Princess Sistina grins and says she'll fix the food shortage and refill the missing magic power. They press the urgency hard, because no time is on their side and the elf twin cuts in. So how exactly are you going to pull all of this off at once? Princess Sistina shocks everyone by proposing a brand new kind of food that can refill magic power. Everyone starts doubting it can even be real, then one elf blurts out they've never heard of food that restores magic. Still, Princess Sistina refuses to budge. And when they're done talking, they're going to make it happen. Princess Sistina leans in and demands to know if it's truly possible. Then Kaido barrels in and hits the princess with one question. What does she need? Ixa flashes a grin and tells them, just say the word, and she'll run off to grab whatever they need, because they're blessed to have everything they need right here. Ixa clocks it the moment the princess promises. Once she says she'll do it, she actually does. Out there, people are ready to step up. This whole group surges together, shouting that they'll help Lady Ryuna too. Her eyes sting, and the elves feel it in their bones. If this keeps dragging on, everyone's going to fall, so they decide to try because there's still a chance. Ixa leans in and asks if drawing mana from the outside is asterisk really that tough, aren't elves born for it? Princess Sistina shakes her head and says nope, everyone's mana's different. The elves cram in extra details because this is the exact place where Leyline mana fits their bodies perfectly, and they sip that compatible magic straight in and convert it inside themselves. Down in the village, everyone's still fighting the same problem and hunting for the cause, but they've got no answers yet. Kaido realizes the ley line has gone unstable, and now they've got to find a way to refill the elves faster. No time to waste. Kaido leans in and tells everyone he wants them to head to Kate Village and grab some vegetables. Princess Sistina's eyes widen with curiosity as she asks what they're for. Kaido leans in and says the village's veggies aren't just farm-grown. Those dragon veins seep their mana into every bite, leaving the faintest trace behind. The elves focus their mana and the food they've stored inside. Then together, pour it back into their bodies, blasting their mana recovery forward in a flash. Princess Sistina's eyes blaze when the idea of whipping up a potion to boost it lights her up. Kaido brushes it off as temporary, but he's still not worried, because the elves should be able to bounce back from this deadly mess. The whole crew erupts in excitement over the plan. Princess Sistina takes charge, points at Ixa, and orders her to slice up some trees from this forest. Ixa flashes a grin and laughs. Leave the heavy lifting to me. Princess Sistina leans in and quizzes Ryuna right away. Does she have even a sliver of magic stones or any magic tools at all? Ryuna blurts out, so we can really do this. And Princess Sistina admits, we won't know until we try, and honestly it's my first time too. But she clenches her resolve and swears they won't stop until they finally make it work. Ryuna keeps her eyes on the princess, trust sparking fast, then the work finally kicks off. Princess Sistina locks in with laser focus, lining up the materials with flawless, careful precision. She scoops up the vegetables, the magic stones, and every tool they've managed to snag. The whole crew crowds around the table, hands moving as they forge the only plan that can save the elf village. And just as the potion-making kicks off in the workspace, the entire group tightens in close. Princess Sistina locks in on her work as the elves and everyone else crowds in, eyes glued tight, because every soul here is holding its breath, waiting to see if this experiment will finally work. The magic amplification finally kicks off. Princess Sistina and the crew slam their combined magic into the materials, and blazing lights flare around their hands as the boost hits. The potion bottle gurgles as the prepped mixture pours in, Kate Village's vegetable juice fused with the magical amplification formula, and it all clicks into place. Success. The elves stare in awe, Ixa throws her fist up in pure celebration, and Kaido watches with a satisfied grin. The potion finally took shape inside the building, and while two elves murmured in hushed tones, the camera shifted to the window, revealing the village outside. As time slips by, they gear up for the next life-or-death move, and the finished products are finally ready to go. Inside a gorgeous, ornate chalice, a magic amplification potion swirls together with the village's vegetable juice. Round little pills gleam on a fancy plate, all lined up like a finished masterpiece. Ryuna and her twin proudly lay them out, then sink into a triumphant silence. The work is finally done. Now the whole crew crowds around the ready potion, debating who's brave enough to test it first. Ryuna hesitates for a heartbeat, then steps up and declares she'll test it herself, because someone has to go first. And the moment she drinks the potion, the effects slam into her right away. Magic power surges out of her body, and she can feel it grinding into place, ready to unleash. Everyone else stares with raw hope. Right now it's working and it feels like a win. Princess Sistina leans in and declares they're ready for the next step. Then the whole crew crowds around the bed where the old elf village chief still lies, locked in his long, unbroken sleep. They raise the potion, ready to pour it into him, while the elves lock in with razor-sharp focus. Ixa and Kato stand poised for action, and Ryuna stays right by his side. This is the real test right here. They shove the potion into his hands, and the old chief's shaking fingers start to move. He lets out a breathy sound. Fina crashes in clothes, tears pouring down her face, begging him to wake up. Her grandfather is finally stirring and answering her after years of silence. The seconds drag, and Fina's face lights up with pure joy, then cracks with desperate hope. Her prayer is finally pulling at him. Because after all this time, Fina refuses to stop, praying with desperate hope that her grandfather will be brought back. The chief collapses onto the bed, then murmurs barely audible Fina. Maybe he's catching a glimpse of someone from his past. Then his eyes finally flutter open as he starts coming back to himself. The old chief snaps his eyes wide open and finds Fina sobbing. He blurts out, "Why are you crying?" And Fina chokes through her tears as she throws her arms around him. Shouting "Grandpa," he finds the reunion hits like a storm boom. The whole village explodes into celebration, and the elves race through the streets spreading the news. The village chief has awakened, a miracle truly happened. Ryuna burst into the room, yelling, "Good morning, grandfather." And when he saw her, he recognized her instantly and called out her name. Ryuna's face lit up with pure happiness as if nothing else in the world mattered. Then their leader's back. Ixa stands beside her while Ryuna breaks down, tears of relief and joy pouring down her cheeks. Ixa snaps her gaze away and mutters that this just isn't fair. And it hits her harder than she wants to admit, twisting her emotions all the way up. She leans in and tells Ryuna she can cry. No shame, no pressure. Then offers comfort in her own rough, real way, and suddenly that tough beast woman reveals a softer side she usually keeps buried. Princess Sistina stands shoulder to shoulder with Kaido and Ryuna, while the elves praise her victory to the skies. The crew huddles up and the elves say, "Yep, this is exactly how we pictured the princess would be." Princess Sistina just bows her head and says it's all because everyone pitched in together. The village elves crowd together, and pure gratitude pours out of every single one of them. The male elves tell her, "Yeah, it's been like that for us too. They've all slogged through the same mess together." Princess Sistina blurts out to the village chief, "Cut the formalities." Then the old chief steps in, and his voice hits with serious weight. He admits that humans saved them, but the words catch in his throat, like they won't come out right. So Fennes leans in and gently smooths the way her grandfather is saying it. Outside the building, the former chief locks eyes with Princess Sistina and calls her by name. Thanking her again and again for saving their clan, she opens her mouth to answer. But he keeps going, admitting he fully understands what's happening. Even so, he won't stop saying how grateful he truly is. Princess Sistina freezes for a split second, then bursts into a warm, genuine smile and says it wasn't just her strength after all. She credits everyone here. They all gave their very best with the same heart and the same feelings. Ryuna watches the whole exchange like she's totally got it, and yeah, she's shocked they're actually teaming up with humans. The crew bunches together with the three elves while Ixa stands off in the back. Then the last chief blurts out that he can't believe it. The cheeky brat Ixa is now the leader of the beast folk. He tells her straight from where he's standing that she's just like a baby to him. And Ixa snaps back that he's still treating her like a kid. Kaido and Princess Sistina lean in as the old chief snaps back, and the beast woman leader fires right back. The last chief's eye fills the screen in a brutal close-up as he mutters, "We're special." The last chief snaps that the boy is insolent, so Ixa and Ryuna jump in and say they'll team up with the humans. Then Ixa presses, "All right, what are the elves doing?" And Fina just stares, totally lost. The former chief snaps back that the call isn't his anymore. Ryuna has to decide. Then he flat out confirms it. The village chief is Ryuna now. Ryuna smirks as the decision finally lands, and the whole crew lanes in, Fina, Ixa, and the former chief standing right there watching too. Outside by the building, Kaido and Princess Sistina lean in close and lay out what happens next. Kaido suddenly blurts out that he's made his choice about the treasure. Ryuna steps forward and makes it official, standing beside the last chief and a male elf. Then she declares loud and clear that the elves back the new lord's plans and swear they'll cooperate. Kaido flashes a grin of victory, while Princess Sistina stares in shock at his formal commitment. The alliance locks in, and the elves lean in, demanding to know if anyone has objections to the village chief's call. Princess Sistina's eyes flare with emotion as she and Kato brace beside the magical items, while Ryuna smiles and tells them she's ready to work with her lord from this day on. All of them finally gather in one place, and Princess Sistina throws out her thanks. Everyone answers right back. Then the moment flips, and we leave the forest behind as a towering grand castle with blazing flags and sharp spires comes into view. A servant sets a teacup down inside a lavish room draped in ornate curtains, and two maids stand ready beside a full tea set on the table. Back in the castle, the two older princesses slip into their own private chat. Ariel Larlet takes a long sip of her tea and admits it's been ages since that girl was shipped off to the frontier. Second Princess Khalifa Larla presses her fingers to her face and murmurs that she's sure Sistina would have thrown in the towel by now. Khalifa blurts out an idea, telling her sister Ariel she's struck something brilliant. Then Ariel fires back. Back at the castle, Khalifa fires up her schemes again. She leans in and tells Ariel that since she's the older sister, she should put Sistina through a trial. Then she starts showing exactly what she means. Ariel's eyes light up. She finds it seriously intriguing and immediately nods, agreeing. The story cuts to a squad of knights huddled together, oblivious to the trap closing in. Meanwhile, Khalifa's mind races straight to Sistina, imagining what terrifying road waits for her youngest sister. The story snaps back to the frontier territory. Kaido leans in and asks Princess Sistina if the spot works. She nods and thanks him, and Fina blurts out, buzzing with excitement, that the elves have joined forces. At last, the teleportation magic device is finished, and the whole crew crowds around the glowing magic circle sprawled on the ground. Kaido grins and swears the test will land perfectly. Then Ixa snaps back, "Don't worry, because the other side's locked in just like this. Now there's just one thing left, put the princess to the test." The whole crew braces as heavy footsteps come closing toward the circle. The tired old elf chief bursts in anyway, dragging himself through exhaustion just to get eyes on that rumored teleportation magic tool, even as Fina and the other elves beg him to rest. Then the scene is finally done, and the experiment is ready to begin. Ryuna tells Ixa that once her grandfather makes up his mind, he doesn't quit until it's done, no matter what, and Ixa nods like, "Yeah, that's exactly how the last chief was too." Kaido clocks how close they are just like always, and he can't help but smile. Then Ixa blurts, "I'm not that stubborn." Next up, they dive into the experiment details and lay out the whole setup step by step. The devices are set up in the elf, beastman, and human villages. Then you move them in order and watch them come back working, because that's how you prove the plan actually works. That old chief presses Princess Sistina, "So you're really starting the experiment?" And she nods, saying the last time the dragon vein's power wrecked the destination, it won't happen again because she's made the device stronger by weaving in the magic stones she was given. Fina blurts out that she wants to stay and watch too, and Princess Sistina nods. So the whole crew crowds around the teleportation circle. Princess Sistina declares she's going to begin, then slams her magic into gear. The magic circle suddenly explodes into pure, mind-blowing chaos. The group watching stares as Princess Sistina and Ixa vanish. Then Princess Sistina pops back and grins, telling them she's already teleported to the Beastman village. And now she'll beam them to the human village next, with the elf village waiting right after. Princess Sistina locks in her focus and counts down, because if everything goes her way, this is it. 3, 2, 1. She slams the return button to bring everything back. Teleportation snaps shut with a blast of explosive magic, blasting debris everywhere. Princess Sistina and Ixa snap back into existence at the elf village. Kaido confirms they've made it back, and the signatures from the other locations scream loud and clear. You can clearly see the documents proving the connections all worked out. The whole crew explodes into cheers. This is a massive win and they know it. Everyone stared, totally confused. Wasn't this already done? So what improvements are you talking about? Princess Sistina smiles, thanks them, and declares, "Now we move forward with the upgrades." Then she drops the bombshell. She's going to tweak it so humans can be transported too. The whole crew freezes. Could that even work? Sistina insists it should, at least in theory. It just never got tested because of safety fears. Ixa blurts the question on everyone's mind. Why can't humans use it right now? Princess Sistina nods and says, "That's exactly what we have to fix." Princess Sistina steps forward, ready to break down the teleportation device's limits so even the slowest heads can follow, and she commands everyone, "Listen carefully. Magic power is the real deal behind every technical move." She lays it out and then draws the line between living things and objects. Living beings feel everything, but objects don't sense a thing, yet teleportation still messes with them in a bunch of ways. During teleportation, the device erupts in surges of magic energy, like a brutal wave hitting everyone at once. If your magic is low, dizziness slams you hard, and those same surges twist straight into nasty body disorders. Princess Sistina keeps going, warning that these same effects don't just hurt the body, they fry the brain too. From punishing heat, freezing cold, and those short, brutal vibrations. Moments spike with raw intensity, and ICSA calls it magical intoxication. Princess Sistina admits the scary truth. Yes, even for her, once the brain is destroyed, regeneration becomes a nightmare, because that part is nearly impossible to mend, magic or not. Kaido shoots the question, so how do we shield everyone from this? Just slap a barrier over the teleportation zone, boom. Humans get shielded too while everyone gets transported. Runa listens to the explanation and decides it sounds way too easy, until Princess Sistina says the barrier method is simple. and Fina snaps back that it devours mana and runs inefficiently, which is exactly why the royal capital never adopted it. Runa leans in and says they should copy the forest barrier, because it barely drinks any mana at all. Fina practically bursts with excitement, begging Runa to teach her. She can't wait another second. The others clock it instantly. Fina's got that same intense, eager look on her face again. The whole group bands together and brings the forest barrier design to life. Everyone crowds around the outdoor teleportation circle, and Fina locks in, staring hard at every tweak and adjustment, while Princess Sistina, Kaido, Runa, Ixa, and even the previous elf chief watch the whole operation unfold. The project keeps roaring forward, and the whole group finally gels, everyone grinning like they just nailed the impossible, while that sneaky former elf chief slips out of his room again just to watch. Ixa snaps at him, saying if he drops again, Runa and the others will break down and cry. Then the old elf digs in and insists, "I'm fine now." Ixa grumbles that the last chief is downright impossible. The whole scene goes dead quiet as the old elf chief stares at the gathered crowd, and you can see it hit him. Every moment of his life was about guarding the village and standing by his comrades, and yet here it is. Humans, elves, and beastmen working side by side in perfect peace, something he never in a million years thought he'd live to witness. The old elf chief watches the world shift and admits with a heavy sigh that you can't stop time from moving. He snorts and says the kids all talk, but Ixa shoots back, "I'm not a kid anymore." The old elf chief finally admits it, eyes locked on Ixa and Runa as the truth hits hard. That's why everything feels different now. When Ixa steps up to the last elf chief and drops a serious request, he leans in and asks the old elf if he can finally be the one to take care of Runa. The former elf chief pauses, thinking hard, then leans in and asks Ixa if this is something she's truly okay with. The old elf bluntly declares that Ixa isn't a kid anymore, then drops his answer and tells her, "Do what you want." Ixa takes it, thanks the last elf chief, and the two of them stand side by side while everything finally quiets in the forest. Right there among the trees, Ixa holds her ground. Emotions finally erupted right after that tense talk with the old elf chief. All the feelings he's been swallowing for ages are finally about to explode to the surface. Suddenly, Runa snaps into action and charges through the forest toward Ixa. Before Ixa can even react, Runa lunges in, clings to her, and holds on with a crushing embrace. Ixa blurts out in shock as Runa just throws herself into an embrace. Then she blurts out her feelings straight to the point, telling Ixa she loves her too, and how thrilled she is that Ixa has been thinking about her that way. Ixa shoots back that her heart will always belong to Runa, and Runa instantly fires back that Ixa was literally eavesdropping on their chat just now. Ixa sprawls on the ground and finally admits it, then Runa leans in and demands, "Do you love me?" Ixa blurts out that she'd been listening to the talk between Runa and her grandfather, and Runa snaps that she wants it said right, not to him but straight to Runa. All around them, the others shoot out a mix of shocked looks and wild emotions, and in the middle of the forest, Ixa and Runa lock into a fierce embrace. Ixa looks Runa straight in the eyes and blurts out, "I love you." Runa thanks Ixa, blurts out the full truth, and admits she's been feeling the exact same way ever since that moment. Ixa snaps back that it's her apology to make for leaving Runa waiting this whole time. The two stood side by side, the last elf chief lurking nearby, as they stared down the confession that had everyone's eyes glued the whole time, while the old elf chief watched from the shadows, keeping silent. Princess Sistina spots the moment they're being watched, and Kaido finally admits they've been figured out. Then Ixa snaps around to the group and demands to know why everyone's staring like that. Everyone starts trading questions about how long they've been watching, and Kaido cuts it clean. "You all knew from the start, the second Ixa told Runa's grandfather she wanted to marry Runa." Meanwhile, Runa practically bursts with excitement and tells her sister Fina that Ixa's straight up confessed she's totally in love with her. Fina just nods and says, "Yeah, I saw it too." Fina beams with excitement and tells her sister, "This is amazing," while Runa gets all flustered from the non-stop attention. Princess Sistina steps in and offers to officiate their wedding if they're actually doing it. Ixa shoots back, saying they shouldn't tease her that much. Then Kaido chimes in, praising Ixa's confession as seriously manly. The old elf chief suddenly snaps with excitement and shouts that they should hold the wedding right now. Then Runa steps in, demands everyone calm down, and brings the room back to earth. Runa points out the wedding is still later and orders everyone to settle down. Then Princess Sistina jumps in, asking if they'll remodel the mansion, so it can actually look like it belongs for the celebration. Kaido nods and Ixa snaps back, "Yeah, you guys need to calm down already." Princess Sistina declares they'll build a town right here that's even more amazing than the capital, and Runa can't help but ask, "Is that actually possible?" Ixa shuts her down with a confident, "Yes, that's exactly what we're doing." Princess Sistina steps forward and makes it crystal clear, There are still a ton of problems they have to tackle first, so everyone better knock those out, because then things finally start getting better. With the village finally taking its first step onto a whole new road, the last elf chief looks back and realizes, this is it, both for them and everyone here. As the group keeps mapping out their future together, Ryuna calls out to Ixa and admits Princess Sistina is completely right. Princess Sistina is watching the debt she owes her, because she still hasn't repaid her for saving her life. And then she snaps at the perfect moment with a bold deal. She tells Ryuna to hand the wedding prep to her and swears she'll craft the happiest wedding on earth. But Ryuna still has to pull it off in full, proper style. Ixa agrees the job is hers because it's for the princess, but she admits it's a huge ask, and Kaido confirms the deal without hesitation. They all crowd together for a carriage ride across the territory, soaking up every bright moment as the couples cling close and savor the time. Then later, Kaido suddenly goes quiet, baffled, and desperately wonders where that one important item disappeared to. About a week later, the whole crew finally crashes together at the human village. Princess Sistina, Kaido, the Beastmen with Ixa, the elves, Ryuna and Fina, and all the villagers. They trade updates on the construction, and it's almost done. Once it's finished, getting around won't be a nightmare anymore, and then they can finally start building the town for real. They've got to dig into the dragon vein problem even deeper, and everyone's already locked in on the plan ahead. Right in the middle of the talk, Ixa suddenly senses something off, and it hits like a spark. She blurts out that she can smell a stranger closing in, and the whole group freezes, desperate to figure out what's about to go down. Out on the horizon, huge mounted figures rise into view. Horseback riders thunder toward the village at full sprint. Princess Sistina clocks who they are in an instant. Those men are definitely her knights from the capital. The mounted envoys thunder in and announce themselves loud and clear. They stride in like they own the world, envoys from the royal capital, and demand they be led straight to Lady Sistina Lullard and the Lord. A bunch of folks, beastmen, elves, and villagers alike, stand shoulder to shoulder as an envoy hops down, wipes the dust off his boots, and bows low before Princess Sistina. The envoy steps up to her with a grin and blurts, "It's been forever." He tells them straight up, paying taxes on your own domain is the law, and that's why he's here, bringing the official notice right to your doorstep. Princess Sistina snaps, "What do you want with me?" And the envoy grins as he lifts his offering. Then Sistina freezes when she realizes what she's holding isn't a tax notice. The envoy reminds her, since she already knows the rules, paying taxes on her own domain is required by law, so he's here to hand her this notice. Princess Sistina and Kaido stare at the document, and the worry in the room keeps climbing. The envoy bows and calls Lady Sistina the Lord of the Northern Territory, then slams down the tax notice, every last page laid bare. It demands an immediate tax payment of 50 million euros, and Princess Sistina freezes, staring at the notice like it just punched her, sweat breaking out as the reality finally sinks in. The whole group goes stone still in pure shock. Princess Sistina stares down at the tax notice, and her mind can barely keep up with what it's seeing. Behind her, her companions, Kaido, Ixa, Ryuna, Fina, Khalifa, and the rest, gawk in stunned silence at the impossible number 50 million. The shock hits like a wave, spreading fast through the whole crowd. The village chief, Young Shun, the other villagers, even the beastmen can't believe it. They all cry that it has to be a mistake. 50 million euros? No way, not in this world. That monstrous tax demand leaves them reeling, with zero clue how Princess Sistina is supposed to cough up a fortune like that. Ixa stared at the bill in disbelief, mouth dropping as she muttered, "Seriously, all that?" She pointed out that 50 million euros could buy a decent little mansion in the capital, yet the villager next to her shook his head and swore, "There's no way we can pay that." Meanwhile, Kaido leans in and tells Princess Sistina that a tax this brutal wouldn't be allowed in a backwater like this, but she just stares down, eyes full of worry. While the envoy slams in the deadline, the taxes have to be paid within 1 week, and the whole crew erupts in shock at how insanely little time they've got. The village chief snaps that something stinks in all this, and one of the beastmen throws in, "How are you expecting us to pay taxes out of nowhere, especially for a number that huge?" The invoice just snaps back that he already told them, case closed, because that's the rule. Princess Sistina grabbed the envoy and demanded he spell out what was going on, but the envoy just repeated what he'd already said, because apparently that's how it's always been. Princess Sistina breaks it down out loud. This territory is miles from the capital, barely worth anything politically, and the land is still untouched and raw, so her companion can't let it slide. The tax demand is absurdly high for a place that's still trying to grow. The envoy admits her point, then drops the real reason. This land's been sitting on unpaid taxes for ages, and that's exactly why the bill comes out to this. Kaido fires the question at the village chief, "When were the taxes paid last?" And the chief admits they've never even been demanded before. Princess Sistina weighs this revelation in her mind. because that territory was probably left to rot for so long that generation after generation of lords simply surrendered and stopped trying. The envoy keeps talking, telling Princess Sestina to take this staggering tax demand as mercy from the kingdom. Because if it weren't for that lie, unpaid taxes on this scale would be treason against the state, and a villager can't even believe what he's hearing. Ryuna shrugs and says, let's just ignore their demands, this kingdom's been neglecting us the whole time. And Fina nods, saying, yeah, nothing's going to change, this country never supported us in the first place. But the truth is, once someone clocks what's going on, you can't just brush it off like it's nothing. Ixa demands answers. Why do they have to tear themselves away from their land? Ryuna claims this whole place is theirs, but the envoy shoots back icy and ruthless. No payment means the estate gets torn down. He yanks his sword out and announces that this land belongs to the kingdom, full stop. And if the residents don't pack up, he'll haul them out in chains and brand them criminals. Ixa and Princess Sestina both tense up the moment the word criminals hits the air, and you can see their worry on their faces. Tension detonates when Fina snaps and grabs the envoy with raw fury. Kaido stares in disbelief that these monsters are human too, and Ixa spits out curses at the envoy's bastards. Right as the confrontation explodes into full chaos, Princess Sestina shoots her hand out and yells for everyone to hold up. The whole crew halts in place, staring at her like, tell us what to do. Kaido tells the crew, no matter what you feel, this is the rule set we're stuck with, and Ixa shoots back, I get why, but I still can't accept it. Then Princess Sestina steps in calm, sharp, and the voice of reason holding them all together. She fires back at the envoy, asking why this rule has been brushed aside for so long if it's real. The envoy freezes in place, caught in a sudden wave of doubt. Based on what he's heard, they've never even shown up to collect taxes before. So Princess Sestina slams her argument down hard, because the numbers and the timing feel way too suspicious, and this whole thing is downright unfair. The envoy tries to hide behind procedure, but Princess Sestina slashes through his excuses, then demands he explain himself. Taxes are supposed to fund the kingdom in exchange for protection, yet this land has gotten nowhere near enough benefits to justify paying a single coin. Kaido watches the whole exchange like, yeah, of course. This princess stays cool no matter what hits her. But he still can't shake the feeling the envoys won't fold just because they throw logic at the wall. The envoy admits Princess Sestina is right, she really was sent here on orders. But he still insists they can't bend the rules. Princess Sestina spots a crack in the situation, pounces on it, and tells him she's got a deal. Pay the 50 million euros in taxes, and in return the kingdom will pledge support equal to that amount. The envoy narrows his eyes, looking utterly unconvinced as Princess Sestina. He confidently asks if he can handle arranging that much support, and her calm smile basically screams she's already plotting her next moves. The envoy nods and backs Princess Sestina's plan, and one of the residents steps up, volunteering to carry the message all the way to the capital. So Kaido thanks her for taking the job. As the envoy gets ready to bolt, he fires off a warning at Princess Sestina. If they don't cough up the taxes, they'd better brace for what comes next. Yet Sestina just nods, cool and unshaken. The envoy kicks off on horseback and the whole town watches stunned as he rides away. As soon as the envoy disappears, cheers and nerves explode through the group, and one of the residents snaps, "This is our moment." Kaido shoots Princess Sestina a sharp, questioning stare. The residents finally catch on. If they can cough up the year-acquired taxes, the nation will match it for them. And Ryuna makes it clear this deal will turbocharge their territory's growth. Spotting the perfect opening, Fina, Ixa, and Ryuna lock eyes, and trade hopeful looks like they've found their way through. The debate keeps rolling while everyone wrestles with what it all means. Then Kaido steps in and declares that Princess Sestina is 100% right. With that kind of support, they could basically raise an entire town. And Ixa points out the kingdom is already pouring resources into building a mansion in the royal capital. The village chief can't believe it. This sounds like a dream come true. And if it actually happens, he says it'll make it way easier for other races to come together and settle in their territory too. Shun lights up and insists this will smash them closer to their dream. Then Ryuna jumps in with a worried shake, scared they'll be forced to raise that kind of money. One resident says this all feels just like before, and someone else chimes in that they've fought through every hardship together. Then the whole group crowds into an interior space, clearly locked in, ready to take on this challenge, and Ryuna just nods like, I already know we've got this. Princess Sestina flashes a confident smile at the crew gathered around her. Princess Sestina raises her arms in pure joy and birds swirl around her beneath a blazing sky. Then she declares, voice shaking with conviction, that this land is packed with endless possibilities. Confidence lights up the whole scene as everyone crowds together, Fina, the village chief, Shun, Kaido, Ryuna, and all the others, standing shoulder to shoulder, grinning like tomorrow can't lose. Kaido and Ryuna shoot each other a hard, determined look, like they're about to charge straight into whatever comes next. Princess Sistina hurls her fists into the air, blazing with determination, and declares this is the big showdown at last. In a stiff, formal chamber, an emergency meeting slams shut. Princess Sistina and her companions sink into fancy throne chairs as Kaido stands looming close by, and right in front of them the hard truth hits. In just 1 week, they've got to cough up 50 million euros in taxes. Ryuna demands to know what they're really going to do, and someone blurts out that they need a way to grab a massive pile of money fast. Kaido admits he's been thinking too, but all he can find are terrible ideas. Fina throws out the idea of making a one-of-a-kind specialty product. Kaido lays it out plain, turning that into money is brutal. Even in normal times, 50 million euros is beyond crazy unless you're dealing with some noble who's sitting on real wealth. And this time, they can't even tap Princess Sistina's assets. Ixa is convinced this is brilliant, something special from their land they could sell in the big city, built around local produce and goods, until Runa slams it with the truth. There's no time to waste, because a single week won't stretch from development all the way to actual sales. Even with the timing mishap, Princess Sistina lights up at the idea and raves that the local specialties are a brilliant plan. Fina nods along with Ryuna about the timeline, then Ixa jumps in, because even later they're still going to need money, so Ryuna agrees. Once they survive this mess, they'll hammer out that specialty product plan. Immediate crisis hits the scene. Kaido then throws out the idea of borrowing it from someone, but Ixa snaps back on the spot. Who in the world would actually lend us that kind of money? Kaido tells them to tap the nobles backing Princess Sistina in the royal capital. Yeah, that's a real play, and Sistina admits it's the most practical route. But she knows that plan won't work, and Kaido catches on instantly. Sistina lays it out clearly. The real move is to show everyone what this land can do because it's packed with infinite possibilities. Kaido nods with full conviction, because grabbing money from nobles won't fix the real disaster wrecking their territory. They need a totally different play. Princess Sistina plants her feet, strikes a bold pose, and declares it loud. She and everyone in her territory are going to forge a brand new invention from scratch. The announcement blindsides Ryuna, Ixa, and Fina so hard they freeze on the spot, staring in stunned confusion at what she's planning. Princess Sistina tells you that when she was still in the capital, she once met a merchant who begged for a way to move food while keeping it fresh and alive for the journey. One of the crew finally snapped, why not just pack it with ice or something? But the answer hit back fast. Ice only holds for a few hours, and getting from town to town takes days. A goofy thought bubble pops up showing a walking storage box. Princess Sistina decides they've gotta build a portable food storage unit right then. Kaido drops the bomb that they already have magical refrigeration devices, and they're even working in the royal capital. Then one of the group snaps in shock. So they exist already. Princess Sistina immediately calls it out. Those devices are monsters to lug around, and they gulp down magic like crazy, so they need a non-stop supply just to keep running. She practically lights up as she lays it all out. How they can build a portable storage unit that'll keep running for ages on one single magic charge. Princess Sistina sinks into deep thought and admits, straight up, she can't pull this off by herself. This is brutally hard. A voice cuts through the noise, reminding her that everyone she needs is right here beside her. The village chief raises her voice, thrilled she's finally praised their work, and then someone chimes in. When it comes to skill and finesse, humans don't have a rival. Ixa shoots back with total confidence. With our wild strength and tough bodies, beastmen can snatch up whatever we need. She shrugs it off like it's obvious. We're hunters, that's what we do. Fina tells everyone the elves' power comes from magic tools. Because the heart of everyone is their magic formulas and the crazy deep knowledge behind them, crafted by skills only elves can pull off. Then she swears she'll recreate even the toughest magic to make this project work. The whole crew huddles up, fired up by one idea. Stack every strength they've got and they'll crush whatever hardship comes for them. Meanwhile, Princess Sistina stands on the stairs in full motion, shouting that she needs everyone's help right now. Down below, Ryuna, Fina, and Ixa stare up at her, all fired up with determination. Then Ixa tells Princess Sistina, go on, give the orders. She's ready to move, boss. Princess Sistina flashes a grin and lays out the plan like it's already working. Every piece gets assembled and finished by hand. No shortcuts, just pure craft. Everyone crowds around a giant table, Kaido right in the middle. While every resident steps forward, fists ready, and the whole group bursts with energy, eager to dive in and start. A character shouts at the princess, cutting through the moment like a spark. Kaido asks Sistina straight up what she's going to do about finding buyers for the magical tools they're making. And Princess Sistina admits that's the whole make or break point. That's exactly why she's handing it over to Kaido. The two lean in and share a tight heart-to-heart moment as they break down the one crucial part of their plan. Princess Sistina leans in and asks Kaido, can I count on you? and Kaido gives her the nod, making her request clear. He leans in and promises he'll grab everything and have it locked in by the deadline. Princess Sestina shoves a prototype device into his hands. Yeah, it's only the first version, but she swears it'll change everything. She hands it to him and Kaido grins and tells her, "You're a huge help," right before he heads out. One of the elves fixes them with a warm, gentle smile, and Kaido tells Princess Sestina he'll be gone from the territory for a bit, then warns her not to pull anything reckless while he's away. She leans in and tells him the exact same thing again. They lock eyes and share one last precious moment, right before Kaido tears off on his mission to hunt down buyers for their magical tools. The grind kicks off across the land. Kaido and the beastmen plunge into the forest, hauling in materials and moving supplies with brute force. In the workshop, the elves crank up their magic tool projects, scratching formulas, testing spellwork, and hammering their way through every magical component with expert hands. The human villagers dive into assembly and final touches, cranking through the build one careful piece at a time, exactly how the plans call for it. Back in the royal capital, Khalifa cackles with pure wicked glee, telling Ariel they'll soon get to witness Sestina's crushed, depressed face. Ariel shoots back that Sestina still hasn't fully given up yet. Another voice snaps, 50 million euros in a week. That's impossible, and when the reply hits, it admits, if she really pulled it off, then yeah, it'd be a miracle. Ariel catches a strange detail. There's Kaido, striding through the capital's colonnaded hallways like he owns the place. His face snaps into focus, and she's instantly caught by that unshakable, determined intensity. Khalifa blurts out to her older sister, locking eyes on Ariel and realizing exactly what hit her.